Greetings, all you lovers of the macabre, and welcome to another Quiz Arena with the Surgeons of Horror. At the moment, we are just getting ready to play. We're going to be setting to kick off the Quiz Arena at about 8 p.m, so we still give you guys a bit of time to stretch your legs. But today, we are going to be celebrating Texas Chainsaw Massacre Day. That's right, it's a strange time of year, ladies and gentlemen, but we've got to do something in this lockdown. And luckily we have another person along, so we don't have to feel too scared. Please welcome our fantastic guest, Andy Trio. Please give him a big hearty round of applause. Yay! Welcome. Woo! Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, I love to see it here. Fantastic. You're ready and roaring to play some trivia, I'm assuming. Very awesome. This is good to see. Yes, and we have Overthinker 101 and Lux Voco already there, and they're clapping, which is good. We've got the applause already going there. Fantastic. So how have you been? Have you had a good day?
Yes, it's been an interesting one, you know, just doing the bare essentials here in lockdown. Yeah. Grocery shopping, pretty exciting. But I have been watching a lot of movies lately and catching up on all the streaming services, so yeah.
Yeah, fantastic services out there. Not even just like, you know, your Netflixes and things like this. There's Shudder. There's a whole bunch of different new ones that are sort of starting up out there. So you can get some, like, a good kick of it. Shudder especially has a lot of sort of independent films that are really quite cool and gritty in that sort of way. But of course, today we're going to be celebrating Texas Chainsaw Massacre Day. So if you guys have any facts or trivia that you have out there, we want to get you guys commenting over there in the chat so that you know, it might give us a little kickstart to add our own little facts or go off on tangents or fact check stuff and things like that. Are you a big fan of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre style of film? Like, you know, it's sort of that gritty sort of art house almost.
Well, yeah, I enjoyed the early 2000s one. That was pretty cool. I was definitely had close friends that were really into this style, so that kind of hooked me into it. But before then, I wasn't heaps big on horror, but nowadays it's just awesome. Just the style of shooting those kinds of movies is so interesting. So it would be nice to look back on this movie.
Yeah, exactly. I was saying, especially a lot of the time to Saul, that a lot of people find horror is one of those genres that's, you know, off-putting. I remember as a kid, it always fascinated me walking through the aisles of Video Easy, which, again, in the olden days, they used to have video cassettes, which were magnetized discs, no, that's even later, magnetized strips of paper, for fuck's sake, digitized metal strips that went through these plastic containers, which you put into a VCR and it would play a video. That's a very
You had to rewind as well.
Sorry?
And you had to rewind them before you give them back.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And not a lot of people knew that if you put them too close to speakers or any magnets, it would, like, you know, shuffle all the data on them. But they used to have aisles, and especially the horror aisle was one of those fantastic places that as a young person, you could walk through there and you would get just a hint of that scary element from the artwork that was portrayed on the covers. And this was one of the things that pulled me from a young age towards horror, but it also expanded my view of horror. And that's why, especially amongst the other surgeons, we a lot of the time discuss horrific elements in other films. I mentioned Schenectady, New York a lot because that, not necessarily as a horror film, but it definitely, to me, it resonates in the same way a horror film does. But in the same way that what is it? Fried green tomatoes does as well. You know what I mean? It's a very different style of resonation that sticks in your mind, but it's something that communicates the artwork in such a way that the viewers can take away so much from it, you know, and it sticks in their mind to make them want to revisit it later on.
Definitely. Have you seen Cabin in the Woods, Josh?
Oh, absolutely love it. Yes.
Would you count that as a horror film?
Yeah. Now, again, I have a very broad spectrum, and I say because it has horror elements, and definitely there are elements like if you just took sequences in that, you could show that as a horror purely by itself. The same as in Freaky Friday, if you just took the opening sequence, that's the only real horror element in that movie. The remake, the current remake with, is it Vince Vaughn, I think?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. I really liked that.
Yeah.
Especially like sort of the head pounding, the use of visual and practical effects in that first death sequence was really chef's kiss, I thought. Yeah, we've also got loving Schenectady, New York, and loving Cabin in the Woods out there. Maybe comment down below. I won't make it a poll because there are so many monsters in there, but let us know what your favorite monster was in Cabin in the Woods. Did you have a favorite monster in Cabin in the Woods, Andy?
I don't remember
Well, there was so many in there. There was I'm trying to remember. Like there was obviously the flying demons. They had banshees.
Remember the big thing at the end?
Yeah. That was like,
shock.
Yeah, it was one of the elder gods. It was almost like a Cthulhu sort of reference, like a H.P. Lovecraft sort of elder gods underneath. From the H.P. Lovecraft mythos, he spoke of old world gods that lived within the Earth, this current Earth. I think they created us to mine gold. I'm not too sure if I'm getting that confused with a different mythology, but they then went back into the underworld and rested for millennia or millions of years, and one day they will reawaken, and the chance that you can do by reading the Necronomicon or the Al-Azif, according to H.P. Lovecraft, would resurrect the spirits. Now, interestingly enough, from the Al-Azif, and if you read the original Necronomicon, which I did when I was in high school, artful reading, it tells you about how you can resurrect certain levels of light, and that was the way that they justified their resurrection method in this mythology. And I got the sense from it that it wasn't necessarily like if you want to resurrect a loved one, you wouldn't pick a demon or an angel type of thing, but you would try and get one of those to resurrect or do that. And a lot of the time, the evil ones would do it, you know. So that was what I took a lot of that sort of mythology. And I think that a lot of the time, people, especially with horror elements, when they dive into the Hellraiser, like, you know, the Lament configuration or the Necronomicon, certain artifacts or MacGuffin, if you will, from horror movies, they'll only just write it off as a negative sort of thing, when I think that even when you look at the intentions from an acting perspective, most of the time people are honest about their intentions and are doing things for what they believe is the right thing. So I liked that when I heard that about the Al-Azif trying to communicate it not just going, oh, we want to be evil for evil's sake. It was trying to do something with a specific goal that had somewhat noble intentions.
Thank you.
Yes. Sorry, I go off on many rants, so I do apologize about that. But to stop my rants, yes, we do have another admittance here, so please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Sol Muerte. Yay, Mr. Sol Muerte, who is joining our thing, if the good old NBN will allow it, and the NBN gods have allowed it. Welcome. How are you, Mr.
Hello,
Muerte?
hello, one and all.
Perfect. Good to see you there. Awesome. Yay. Welcome, and welcome. I don't know if you've met Mr. Andy Trio.
We have not had the pleasure. Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Sol.
Likewise, mate. Likewise.
Yes, he's donning the whole attire versus the background thing. I think he's trying to blend in like a green screen. It's good. But no, we were just talking a whole bunch of things about Texas Chainsaw Massacre Day, Cabin in the Woods. Now, before we go back to you, Andy, because I do want to find out if you have a favorite or if one of those like tickled your fancy in Cabin in the Woods. Saul, do you have a favorite a monster that was in Cabin in the Woods? Featured?
Yeah, I was hearing you chatting just as I was dialing in and on that conversation, and I'm like our fellow colleague here. I'm struggling to identify one standout one, because obviously
I like your diplomatic.
there's so many.
That was very diplomatic there. That was good. Well, let me just get the list. Okay, Cabin in the Woods. Because obviously you have the what was it? The you got the Overlooker. Overlooker. Overthinker 101 says the Surgeons. Now I'm pretty sure that was a homage. As you've pointed out, Jeffrey Combs made a cameo in the House on Haunted Hill as one of the surgeons in that. And I feel like in the Cabin in the Woods, that's what the Surgeons reference is to that. Because there's sort of the surgeons that sort of like do that sort of jump cutty sort of movement through there. But do you remember those at all?
I just did a quick Google search and
yeah, I'm doing the same thing.
I don't remember them being this horrific.
Well, so there was a ballerina with
the ballerina, that's right.
a face with just like
the clown. There was the clown in those.
Yeah, the clown, which obviously based off Pennywise and the It franchise, and not only that, obviously, but the John Wayne Gacy. I'm reading into things with that.
There's a werewolf.
That's right. There is a werewolf. Yeah. Is there a dragon, or are they just like mini demons?
Yeah, just a bunch of demons.
Yeah. Now, like, and we had the Deadites, but there was the crazy redneck zombie family. Then there was the zombies, and then there was another kind of zombie in there, I'm pretty sure. But one of my favorite characters, and I think my favorite has to be, because I'm a huge fan of, as I said before, MacGuffin. I've made a version, a film accurate version of the Neverending Story and the Necronomicon, all the different versions of those, the Black Zodiac, but the Lament configuration is one that I personally love.
Yes.
Can you guys remember that? What franchise is that from?
That's Hellraiser.
Yes, the Hellraiser. And so the homage that they do in Cabin in the Woods, do you remember that one?
I don't remember. I don't remember it in that. No, I must admit it's been a fair while since I've watched it, and it's typical. The person that's not the member of Surgeons who's not here today, who would be kind of chomping at a bit to talk about Cabin in the Woods, is Mr. Yee.
Of course,
he's a big fan of Joss Whedon's kind of written work.
No, I love it because Andy's just given us that as a curveball, and I'm running with it because any chance to talk about Cabin in the Woods, I'll take it.
Well, the other thing is too, just to touch on the Hellraiser franchise, because it's quite fitting, because the director of the Night House, which is just about to come out to cinemas, of which we've been kindly able to give away a couple of double passes from Searchlight Pictures. So the director is teed up to do the next installment of the for the Hellraiser franchise.
Oh, nice.
Which would be kind of interesting to see what he does with it, because up to then, like, the film he did prior to The Night House was The Ritual, which went gangbusters on Netflix, the British kind of backpacker kind of horror flick with a bit of an occult twist. Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, fantastic. I'm so glad they're bringing it back. As in, I'm optimistic, at least, that they're bringing it back.
Well, they are saying they're going back to the original Hellbound Heart novella, which the Clive Barker, novella, which Hellraiser was based on. So it'll be interesting to see what they come up with. So it will be kind of cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, because the reason that I bring that up is when they go down into the basement, they obviously have all of the different things around there, but there's a circular spherical disc that. I can't remember. I don't think it has blades around it, but when you turn it, blades come out, and so that's obviously the reference to the Lament configuration that is in that Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah,
but I think that's it references the Hell Lord, and I think that's probably my favorite one there. If we had to pick, I say that because I just remembered that they had the reanimated there, the guy with the head backwards. So yeah.
You were talking about scary VHS covers in video shops.
Yeah.
This was one of the scariest things.
Yeah.
Like just seeing the cover of Hellraiser. It's like,
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Just the demons and that Pinhead character. I mean, that I think sold the franchise on itself. I mean, the franchise rights alone.
I just want to make a big shout out, actually, because we are talking Hellraiser, to a couple of colleagues of mine who live in the UK, who actually do a thing called the Hellraiser podcast and talk about everything under the sun with the Hellraiser franchise. It is awesome. The guys they're funny too. So if you do want to delve into that a little bit more, go check them out. They're a good couple of guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. Yeah, punch a link down there
It's
if you
to
want. Yes, exactly. Shame. Yeah, but we even had, like, you had the Sasquatch / Wendigo / Yeti. So obviously they're mixing a whole bunch of homages and stuff like that. And I'm assuming rights probably as well played into that. But also too, we have the iconic moment in Cabin in the Woods, which was the death by mermaid, which was like we love those old worldy, like the banshees, the mermaids, the ghouls and things like that. But even what's it? Now I'm just thinking of the Ghost Breakers with Bob Hope. You've seen that, surely? It's a fantastic classic.
I don't think I know that one. Yeah, I don't know it. I don't know it.
It's that plays with the idea of voodoo zombies and those sort of ghouls as well, and that sort of thing. It's like a black and white sort of movie, but a great classic. It's really, really fun. But yeah, wraiths as well in there, like a unicorn, a death by unicorn.
I was going to say the unicorn's the one I remember distinctly.
Yeah.
I remember like kick-ass unicorns in there, which is always good.
Yeah, yeah. You're taking a rapture approach and not wanting to say anyone, and just in case you have to, get summoned to go to this cabin. But of course, we had the Australian gorgeous superstar, which is Chris Hemsworth, obviously playing one of the leads in that film. And interestingly enough, he played a jock, but the jock character wasn't played just for he wasn't a brain dead moron. He was they all had some sort of university accolades. They were going on to do something, and they would question things, and it was only when they got gassed that sort of got in the way.
There's nothing black and white about it. That was what I think stood out. The humor aside, the characters weren't one note, so I think that was quite refreshing, and I think that's what pulled a lot of people into the film. Was it? Can you remind me the year it came out? That wasn't 2011. 2011, thank you.
2011.
So we ran a poll on Surgeons of Horror. I want to say early in the year, or it could have been at the end of last year, where we got people to vote for their favorite horror film over the early 2000s. So from 2000 up to 2010. No, sorry, 2000. Sorry, I correct myself. 2010 to 2019. Beg pardon. For the last decade, and Cabin in the Woods was the one that won for 2011. And the idea is that the winning film was the one that we would talk about for our next podcast. So we actually have done an extensive chat on Cabin in the Woods for one of our podcasts. So go check that out as well. There you go, self plug. Do that.
Totally. Yeah.
What's the podcast called, Sol?
It's called Surgeons of Horror.
Surgeons of Horror.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a link in the description as well. So if anybody who's listening out there wants to hop over to that, you can check that out in the description too.
Awesome.
Yeah, we've been going a fair while now. Like forgive me for repeating myself to viewers out there, but early days we started off as a podcast dedicated to Hammer Horror, so the British kind of Hammer Horror kind of franchise. And we kind of felt like we'd exhausted that a little bit, so we then kind of opened up the umbrella and we kind of transformed into what is now known as Surgeons of Horror. I want to say we've been going for it's got to be like 8 years or so, roughly. So we've done 8 seasons of. We're in our 8th season at the moment of podcasts, and we roughly churn out around. I try and keep to around 24, 25 podcasts per season. So there's a fair few out there. Yeah.
And how long is one podcast?
Right, they differ because
if I'm involved,
which is always cool because I kind of try and keep it quite fresh, and I do as minimal amount of cuts as possible because I quite like the natural flow of conversation in the podcast, and I even like the deviations because I think they add to the personality of it. So you kind of hear us kind of going off on a lot of tangents. but the aim is always to try and go for an hour for the podcast chat, but invariably there's been some that have creeped up into the 2 hour mark. So it's yeah. So it depends on the topic, I guess. And because like we try and have a chat around our we try and have a chat around a particular film, and I try and make that what film of choice is ideally a film that's coming of age. So it's always the majority of the time they're retrospective look back at films of yesteryear. So like what's been really good is like we're at 2021 at the moment, so there's a lot of 40th anniversaries happening around the 1981 movies. So we've been doing a lot of stuff, and we're quite ripe for these great films that came out in the 80s to have a chat about. And the key thing I always ask our offsiders at the end is like, how do you think a modern film going audience would come into this movie afresh, and does it still stand up? That's the idea at the end. We have to try and answer that question, and try and answer that without having too much of the rose-tinted nostalgic glasses on, which is hard.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's something that I always sort of like just go off on tangents and just say interesting things, hence why we ended up making a trivia thing. But it's really interesting listening to the others' input as well, because there are so many different inputs that we have from it. And it's just, as you say, like, not wanting to have those nostalgic glasses, but part of that fun is being able to go back and reliving the scenes, especially when you do the breakdowns as well, breaking down the scene and saying certain things that are happening specifically in a film. That allows a lot of the at least me as a viewer to indulge in that as well. And just like, even if I'm doing something whilst editing, it's easy to put you on, I've got 3 monitors, but listen and watch in this background. So
Have you done?
I just noticed that. Sorry, say again. Sorry, talking over you.
So have you done some Australian episode of all the horrors made here?
No, like that's been my big my big plan actually, is to dedicate a season entirely to Australian horror, and I'm slowly kind of feeling like we're edging towards that. Because I wanted to kind of get as broad as possible with a lot of the big players. We have done the Babadook because that won one of the best horror movies of the year it came out. So we had a big chat around that one. But I am keen to kind of delve back, and I've been looking. Umbrella Entertainment have been kind of releasing some really cool Ozploitation films on their through their website. So I've been fortunate enough to hook up with watching a couple of those. So what's the old Patrick movie from 1978, and posted a review on that. And I did just recently did one on Nightmares, which was like a film that came out in 1980 and starring Gary Sweet in his very first feature film. So that name is quite resonant for Australian viewers. From Britain, I'm from the UK. I always knew Gary Sweet from Police Rescue because that was a big thing in the UK. It was a huge series in the UK. So that for me was how I knew him. So it was kind of cool watching him in his earliest role. So that was sweet. But I know he's been in 100 things since then, especially on Australian shores. But yeah. That's been cool. But yeah, to answer your question, I have huge plans to do a big season just purely about Australian horror. I kind of feel like that's where I want Surgeons of Horror to go. I want it to be talking about Australian horror films, eventually. And because we're ripe for a lot of unique Australian horror as well, like, it's not just Australian. And I think Australia has this unique voice when it comes to the genre of horror. There's been a lot of I feel like there's been a lot of buzz recently, and now my mind's just gone blank, but as to the name of it, but the film that's done as a kind of documentary style based on the the lake and the girl that has drowned, and it's told from the point of view from the brother, and he's trying to investigate what happened to her. And my mind's just gone blank now. So if somebody's out there, they can let me know what the bloody name of the thing is.
Not too sure. But we just had a mention for, what was it, Wolf Creek being a standout Australian film from Lux Voco. And of course we had The Babadook, which I think you mentioned just before, which was Jennifer Kent, the Australian director who did that. But also too, now the woman who recently did Black Widow, she's an Australian director. And I feel like... yeah, really? Oh, wow. I wasn't too sure if I heard her name attached to a horror film before, just because I know that, as you said, Australians, we love our black comedies, and the closest to a black comedy is horror. So I wasn't too sure if that was the same person who was involved there, but we're definitely, seeing more of our, as you said, voice being thrown around the world and getting more of bigger budgets, which is always good. But unique stories too, because we've got such a unique grasp on it. And it's not just Australians. I mean, people throughout the world obviously have their own unique takes on it. But our larrikindness maybe allows us to get away with a little bit more brash telling it how it is. But like, The Babadook as well was one of those sort of films that I think was a horror film that isn't necessarily a conventional one, in terms of some people go and want to see jump scares. Even if they say they don't like it, they expect it. That's that nostalgia. It's what they will get that high and that rush from. And The Babadook felt like, to me, it played with a little bit more, even mentioning Synecdoche in New York, that real world, meta, shining the mirror back on the viewer sort of thing. And I felt like with a lot of films, people... they're in two camps. They either love that and they're right in for it, or they don't like it at all and they're like, no, I don't want a bit of it. So I'm keen to see a bit more of those sort of things, because The Babadook, as I said, was just one that stuck with me. Just the imagery, the sounds, the nature of it.
It was Lake Mungo was the one I was trying to think of.
That's it, Lake Mungo, where they found the Mungo Man, which is a 4,000-year-old, one of the oldest, 4,000 years, sorry, that was the Narrabeen Man, 40,000, a lot earlier than that.
40,000, the one that kind of cemented the fact that Aboriginal people have been there a lot longer than we had originally estimated.
Exactly, and then you've got the cave... paintings or drawings, which I think go back 65 or something. So it's really good, because even when we're talking about before with mythology, I think that's another thing too. Like, then we've got one of the oldest mythologies, the oldest spiritual ways of thinking, that is a unique way of telling its story, because it was so isolated from the world. And I think that too is something that we could play a little bit more with. I'm a big fan of Michael Jackson music, and for years I was always wondering why there was never a sort of a mashup with Indigenous Australian music and like a Michael Jackson sort of hip hop beat, because I feel like they just go hand in hand. It's such an awesome beat.
I really enjoy the big creature horror Australian films like Bait and Rogue.
Yes.
Did extremely well overseas. Apparently, Bait made like millions and millions of dollars in China.
Yeah, wow.
Which sparks them to do movies like Meg, starring Jason Statham, and their own type of shark movies, because, they just eat those movies up. They love them.
Yeah, exactly.
There's going to be a Meg 2 coming out at some point.
Really?
Sounds like a Family Guy sequel.
It's on the cards. Yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah.
I know Fan Bingbing got into a bit of trouble over in China. She was one of the characters in the first Meg, but
yes.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah, she got into some trouble in regards to tax evasion or something like that.
Oh right. Okay.
And then the whole she got in trouble with the government, and that's a really big thing. So they just sit and interrogate you and take everything from you, I think.
Oh, no. Hope they're all okay. I was just going to say, something's up on the drinks menu, and I did mention this before, but I found a concoction in my fridge that glows green, and so I don't know what it is, and I thought it wasn't necessarily the best thing, so I've been injecting it, and I've been feeling vital and, haven't slept. So yeah, poo-poo to energy drinks. Yeah. But yeah. Oh, I mean, The Torture was just mentioned. Now, have you guys seen The Tortured? It's a horror film.
Torture.
Yeah. I don't know if it was an indie horror film, but it was. It obviously didn't get a very big following, mainly probably because of its subject matter. But I felt like it was, like we were talking about before, through the looking glass, the shining the mirror back on society sort of thing. This was a film where parents of a child who was abducted and brutally murdered, wanted justice, and they didn't feel like the justice system had been able to supply him with whatever. I can't remember if he got time off or whatever. He was being transported. The guy who was arrested after his court case was being transferred from a prison in an armed vehicle with a couple of other inmates. And on the way there, the two parents take it under their own volition to ram the truck off the side of the road and kidnap the guy who kidnapped their son, who they think kidnapped their son. They take him to a barn and torture him slowly over him over a period of a week, viciously and like hostile. Like, you feel and you go, oh, it's visceral. And then I don't want to spoil it, and maybe you should just see it, but it has a very, very good twist in it, which I want to, because the whole reason of me telling you was so I could tell you the twist. But go and see the film. It's got a very good twist that shines a light on reality, because the whole time you feel good about what's happening. Not good. You feel justice is being served. You go, this person did this. We know this. And then something happens, in which case you have to rethink everything. And it's a very good way of being able to do that, because throughout the film you feel like it's justified. And it's a very good film. I'm assuming that's what you're getting at, Overthinker. It being the tortured. I can't remember if there's big names in it. But Jeff Rona composed the music from the Tortured Overthinker set. Who else? What was it?
Jeff Rona, right. So
I'm just looking it up. I don't know it. Oh, Bill Moseley's in it. Oh, come on. So Chop Top. Hey, talking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, there you go. See, that's a segue I meant to
people
do.
will know him more from, the Rob Zombie films lately, The Devil's Rejects and all that.
And Jesse McCullough from Desperate Housewives.
Come on.
They're getting that desperate, and they're getting the tools out.
But no, I haven't seen that one. So yeah, I'm gonna. Well, do you know what I'm currently doing as of between August and the end of October? I'm actually doing the 100 horror films in 92 days challenge. So the difficult thing is you have to watch a horror movie that you've never seen before. So I'll add that one to my list. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're probably finding a lot.
That's a lot of horror movies. We'd be having a lot of horror dreams too, I'm sure.
Yeah. How far have you chipped away at? Have you gotten any?
Well, only because we only started in the beginning of August. That's when you kick it off, because it's like the 92 days run up to Halloween. So I don't know. It was someone called Spooky Sarah Says who kind of came up with it on social media. So I thought, oh yeah, I'll give that a whirl. But what's the date to that? I think I'm only about I'm more than 16. I must be like 18 movies in. So it'd be kind of cool.
Nice.
Which is for me, it's a good reason to go back and watch. You were talking about Shudder before I dialed in, but going back and watching some of the exclusive and original content on there, because I've been meaning to kind of check their backlog of movies. So it's good to do that.
Yeah. Well, it's like a hard one too, because a lot of the times it'll be a whim that you'll go, I want to see this, or I feel like watching this, but do you follow the sequel to the end? Like, as in, do you go, I'm going to be a completionist about it? Are you one of those
I'm
people?
a bit like that though. I am a bit like that, which is why I was a bit like, ironically, this is Texas Chainsaw Massacre Day, and there was one movie of that franchise that had evaded me for ages, which was the 3D one, which came out 2010 or something like that, which had Alexandra Daddario in it as the lead, and I hadn't seen it. I owned it, but I bought it, and I couldn't get it won't work on my DVD. So I don't know why, because I've got a region 3 kind of Blu-ray player, but it just doesn't like it. So I hadn't been able to watch it, but I managed to get it working. I dug out like an old player I had, and it worked. So I was able to watch that really early hours this morning for the first time. It's not great. I'll admit it's not great. There's a lot of holes in that film, like a lot of plot holes.
Yeah.
Which does not make the slightest bit of sense, but it's fun.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, what was it? The Oz exploitation film Wake in Fright as well was another one that was mentioned.
Love that one. Yeah. The Wake in Fright, and what's the Long Weekend. Those kind of movies, those kind of early late 70s movies are really, really cool.
Now, I was even going to say as well too, because some of those early films, sort of because I saw one, and Australian films are so raw in the way it was presented with mainly the color grade of it, it really set me into thinking that every Australian film was just that genre. And the reason for that is because acetate, when they used film, was calibrated, if you will, in the northern hemisphere of America, because that was where the film companies were and things like this. So when it came out to Australia, or it was purchased to be used in Australia, the climate and the heat and the exposure of the different color which was coming from the sun meant that when the film was captured onto the acetate, it left a more yellow tinge to it. So that's one of the reasons why we have Breaker Morant, Mad Max, exactly. Like a lot of these films have this sort of color tinge to them, and it's primarily because of that reason. Until you get to, I can't remember when it was, but I know Strictly Ballroom. Sorry?
Man from Hong Kong? Is it the Man from Hong Kong?
Oh, yes! Yes!
Great.
I remember that one, because I remember finding out about that recently and just going, that's fantastic, because there was another film also in that same vein that Harry Seacombe from The Goon Show, in a similar way, they were commissioned to come out or got a grant type thing to come out to Australia to do this. And Harry Seacombe was an old radio show star who came out to a country town in Australia and just shot this film, and everyone was just like, this big English Hollywood actor has come out and done this and was really nice about it. But yes, no, that was another one which was like that. Was it an exploitation film? I can't remember if it was an Aussie exploitation film, because there was a lot of those.
Australia's first kung fu film?
Yeah.
I know the stunt coordinator still works at Afters.
Oh, great. That's right, yeah, because I want to get Kyle Rowling on as well, because he did a Star Wars episode
fantastic.
2 and 3, yeah. And break down some of his fight scenes, especially between Anakin and, like, you know, the going back and forth, or the which, like, he and Nick Gillard apparently developed a whole bunch of wards, which are stances in which you'd both guard and wait to engage in combat with a sword or a weapon. And they came up with a whole bunch of different ones. And so a lot of those blocks and parries, like the Mace Windu, is literally trying to make the person walk back. It's trying to flurry so that you're going to get out of the way of a blade. And that being a blade like it is, it's a lightsaber, it's like a plasma thing that's going to burn and cut you, unlike a long sword or a rapier or something like that, which is just going to sort of hit you and nick you a bit. It's a really sort of fun thing to do. But he's one of the only people on film that's fought Yoda, technically. Yeah.
Put that on the resume.
That's it, yeah. He always gets so bashful whenever we were teaching and stuff like that, and they say to kids, he's fought Yoda! And he'd be, just like, you did, dude, you did. Wasn't your face, but, like, you know, there is footage with your face on it. But I was even going to say, you were recently chatting with the people from that new Marvel film as well, which had a lot of fantastic fight choreography in that too. Were you privy to see anything or talk to them about that?
What can I say?
If you can't say anything, then don't say anything at all. Yes. The machine, the Princess Bride. Yes, no, that's another one. And another fantastic fight scene from The Princess Bride too, which the machine that takes his life completely out. Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on the film on Marvel Shang-Chi, they had the Jackie Chan stunt team on there, which was led by Bradley James Allen, who was, you know, the first Caucasian guy on Jackie Chan's stunt team. And under him, you had guys like Andy Chang, who had been there for a while. And Andy Chang brought all these guys over from China over, and they were, you know, wushu champions, guys that performed for all the massive events in China. And they brought in a team that came off Mulan, the Horsemen there, and there was like a whole Mongolian team.
Cool.
And they did some crazy action as well, and amongst that there was like the lots of Aussie talented performers that had to go through lots of auditions and trials and martial arts, kind of like training sessions to appear in it. So yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. You know, I've heard some really great reviews so far. How it's a bit like anime. Like
cool.
it's so painted over. Yeah.
Sweet.
Just some of the action according to some of the reviews.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
but
Well,
yeah, I had a great time,
that's silly.
you know, being a part of it for,
Yeah. And
yeah,
if you want,
8 weeks. Yeah.
if you wanted to, you can feel free to check out the things that you're doing as well. If like, feel free to share us a link and stuff like that too, and we'll get that out if you like other people to see what you're actively around there doing. Because it's a lot of cool stuff, guys. It's really really cool. Definitely check out. I've briefly had a look over it, and you got some really cool stuff there, dude. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I still interview a lot of K-pop artists, and I've been, yeah, still, you know, I interviewed a bunch of artists recently. I know you probably guys haven't heard of K-pop before.
Oh, yeah.
But
I have heard of K-pop.
You have?
I'm somewhat a fan of J-pop
Yeah.
too. There's a couple of songs that are like my motto.
That's cool, but it's great to see that it's getting a lot bigger nowadays, and the artists have really evolved to take on a lot of music that, you know, Western music and stations will pick up. So
Yeah.
yeah, so doing a bunch of that. So yeah, stay tuned for that, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, no, let us know as well if there's any
Definitely will.
events or anything scheduled or anything that you're up to, because yeah, we're happy to share it around to the community out there, because we want to try and
Yeah,
get those
cool.
links happening, and especially with everything that's happening in the world, like, you know, the online seems to be the way that everything's going. So to link some people who maybe haven't heard about certain cool things happening in the world, I think it's a cool thing, and the little least we can do in this horror community to be a distraction.
Cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. What else have we got happening in the chat there? Yeah, the Soul Sucker machine. Sorry, I started on about that. But yeah, that was the Soul Sucker machine from the Princess Bride, which, like, that I saw a recent breakdown. I don't want to go back into the fight scenes for that because it has a rapier fight scene, and that's my particular weapon of choice. I've got one over the back there. But it's it's interesting just to see how, like, you know, story and thematic meaning, like Ant was saying last week, there's so many different areas that, especially if you have a technical aspect like new CGI, a lot of the story aspects or the artistic impression of how things, you know, would have to play out, sort of have to go out the wayside. But that's something that, like, you know, because that sequence is quite jarring, just even how the editing works. But the Soul Sucker scene I thought was quite extreme even for a kids movie, just because, like, you know, he's not just dying, they're sucking his entire, like, life essence out of him, and it's quite a grueling sort of, like, moment. Have you seen The Princess Bride, Andy?
I haven't. I know what you're talking
Oh
about.
wow!
Yeah.
Oh, you
That's
gotta
right, it's not
see
a
it.
horror, so it's
No, it's not. But
No.
we're still cinephiles at heart, aren't we? That's the thing. So,
Yeah,
you know,
that's it.
Just because this is a horror thing, we
Well-
still love the art of the celluloid film. So
we can make many a segue as well from Carrie Ells too, to being, like, you know, the Saw franchise, and
Have you guys seen Spiral at all?
yes,
Speaking of,
yeah,
we
I haven't
recently went and
seen
saw that.
is
we
it worth
went to see it.
Well, that was just before lockdown happened. That's right.
watching?
That was
Yeah.
we did it.
Is it, Richard? Is it worth watching? He's just said. I'm going to let you answer.
Wait. Are you talking about Black Christmas or Spiral?
Spiral.
Spiral.
Yeah, I liked it.
He liked it.
Yeah.
You didn't
Best
like
reaction ever. No, well, as in, I thought that the Chris Rock energy was far better than Saw 5. I didn't like the way it was going, and the idea that, you know, there was no essence to it. So it felt like this at least had a payoff with that that ending. It went with somewhere, and I think, yeah, the Chris Rock energy was a nice little comedic element that would get new audience members in, but it wasn't too far removed that made it silly. Like, you know, any more silly than Saw can be, really. At least they didn't bring him back again.
Yeah, I think I like in that respect I liked it, but I think we had a discussion afterwards that it was just a bit predictable about the outcome of that without
all
giving
of the
away any
traps.
spoilers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
one trap I
So,
think was quite good, but all of the traps were silly.
but like I did like the Chris Rock thing, and I do think it paves a way if they do choose to push that particular spin-off franchise in a direction. It does pave the way forward for that to be a possibility. So, yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there, whether they do or not.
Yeah,
I guess it's all about the money, isn't it? If they get enough money in, then they'll look about.
And that's kind of where I feel like I'm coming from, because I feel like, you know,
Yeah.
it's the only way it's going to be able to both be something that they can make the films on the budgets they want to, but you got to put in like a star, you got to put in a name. I mean, anyone who's worked in the arts will tell you that, like, you know, as in, because they've got to sell the tickets too. So, but within that, I felt like it was that good melding, because it happened at a chance meeting that they sort of like sprung it on him. So but as opposed to Black Christmas, where I feel like that was just studio involvement getting in the way, or either that, or if it was just one person's agenda, which it could have been, but I just feel like it wasn't.
I've not seen that one.
Yeah, for me it wasn't engaging, because it felt like it threw everything out that you were building up to, or could have built up to, especially when the original film was so strong. I mean, it really was, because I've been trying to work in ways that I can put those quiz questions in there, but I'm trying to think of different ways, and I think I've worked out why. But yeah, that's a great film, Black Christmas.
Black Christmas, okay.
Yeah,
the original one.
The original.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, the original one. Okay.
But the original is arguably one of the first slasher films as well. So it's you know, where they use the POV stuff. I mean, you know, you do get Peeping Tom that came out in 1960, which probably did cement that kind of technique. But then Black Christmas kind of like took that into a different direction, like almost a decade or over a decade after the fact. Yeah. So, and then, what else happened? Then, what was the one? Oh, yeah, then Halloween obviously kind of came out in 1978. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, what is the best and worst movie that you've seen this year?
This year?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, did I come down with my phone? Hold on.
I'm
I'm gonna have to fire. I'm gonna fire up my letterbox, and then I'll be able to answer you, because I've been saving my 2021 horror movies. So give me a sec. I'll let Richard fill the void for a second while I look it up.
So is it okay? Like I said before, are these films from this year, or are these films I've seen this year?
Films that you've seen this year.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Okay,
okay.
it's 2021. Okay.
Well, I mean, like, yeah. Well,
Oh, yeah, because I was about to say, like, you know, I recently saw the Suicide Squad, and
oh, you saw it?
yeah, and that was really cool.
Oh, I want to watch that.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And I don't feel like that can be a contender. I guess.
Oh,
yeah. I guess like
best movie.
yeah, exactly. Like if you came out with sort of like, you know, any of those sort of big Marvel sort of ones, but like, you know, Loki, I remember seeing, like, you know, Wait, did we see The House by the Cemetery this year?
We did. Well, yeah, because we just did the podcast of that for last Sunday. Yeah, so the Lucio Fulci one.
Well, because again,
you feel like that's the worst one you've seen?
No. Oh, was it the worst or the best? No, I'm just thinking because that stuck. That was a lot of fun, and I remember when I watched Sleepaway Camp, and I remember saying that year that was my favorite film, seeing it that year, and it was from the '70s. But
all right, okay. So the worst 3 films I've watched this year, like so far, my worst 3 movies are Vanishing, The Reckoning, which is Neil Marshall's latest film, which so he was the guy that did The Descent. And then the other one was Till Death, which is Megan Fox's latest outing. All 3 of them are a bit substandard.
Yeah, well, that's a shame. I misheard. I thought that it was the best film. Sorry about that, Andy. Yeah, we ended up getting kicked off of Zoom for a second there, but I think I've sorted things out at least for the next hour. Hopefully, so we'll get through the quiz.
Till Death, Megan Fox.
Yeah, I couldn't stand it. It's a bit one note, and just really a bit. Do you know what I can't stand is when movies start with like this kind of real bleak kind of outlook, and it's this real depressive energy. Like, you know, it's not just the characters that are oozing it; the whole film is oozing it. So it instantly brings you on a downer, and you don't give a shit about what happens to these people as a result. Like, and I'm not saying it needs to be upbeat, but it's just like that the energy of the film is already low. So it's hard to engage with a movie when it starts off with that tone. And that's what this Till Death does. And like, yeah, like, you know, there were some interesting twists that happened along the way with the premise, but you just don't give a shit. Like you're just like, I'm one of these, like going back to what you were saying about earlier, Richard, about completionists. It's very rare that I will stop watching a movie as regardless as how much I feel about the movie. I need to see it through to the end. So, and I still do that with the movies I don't connect with, because I want to give it its due. I want to see where the director is intending us to go to its completion before I can cast my view. But yeah, I just struggled. Yeah, gotta say, really struggled with that one.
Yeah.
I enjoyed The Resort. I don't know if you guys seen that.
That is down on my list though of the movies to try and catch over the next to repeat myself, the marathon session that I'm going to be doing. I have put that one down to watch. So you recommend that one, yeah?
Yeah, I don't mind it. It was a fun watch, and there's an Aussie in there as well, Gorman.
Oh, cool.
What's his name? Daniel Gore, who plays. He's like the strange-looking guy who's in a lot of films, and I enjoy it.
Sorry,
it's on Amazon Prime. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely I put a little earmark down when I try and kind of make a note of all the films that are coming out, especially obviously with the horror lens.
The best.
Kind of
my absolute favorite this year has got to be Army of the Dead.
Seriously? Okay.
I haven't seen it, but yeah, I've heard good and bad things about it. So yeah, what did you think of it?
Okay.
Oh, I don't know. I really enjoyed the action. And just how everything kind of came together. So
sweet.
I liked it.
Yeah, well, I'm a huge fan of Land of the Dead, and I know a lot of people don't like that film. And that feels like, when I saw the trailers for it, that was a huge, grab for me, at least for that film. What was it? Not Army of Darkness. I've got Army of the Dead. Yeah. That and how they composited that lady in with the green screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't just done on a whim. It was sort of like, they had care and finesse with it. So it was quite good too. So yeah, I'm keen to see that.
To me, it was, I gave it a 3-star rating. Like to me, there was bits I liked about it. I actually quite like a lot of the dialogue and interplay between the actual characters. I really enjoyed. And that to me was a good hook in. I'm trying to. Oh, and do you know what? It's one of those things where you read about stuff after the fact that and I don't want to give spoilers away in case people haven't caught it yet. But there was a certain element to the movie that came to light after I watched it that suddenly went, and I kind of was like, oh, if that has any grain of truth in it, then it suddenly elevates the film a little bit more. And the director, Zack Snyder, has actually kind of come out and confirmed the theory that's behind it. So I don't want to give anything away, but in case anyone's not seen it. And all of a sudden, like, I know I gave it a 3-star though, because I do a lot of these gut reaction kind of reviews on Letterboxd. Is always my gut reaction straight after I've watched it. But when I heard about that afterwards, I was like, oh, hold on. And it makes me want to revisit the film as a result. And anything that does that, any director that does that makes you want to go back, I think says something. So I could be willing to put an extra star on that, just on the basis of what's playing around with the energy of the story there.
Cool.
Zack Snyder's making a sequel. Is it a prequel on one of the characters?
Yeah, I want to say I've heard prequel mentioned. I've also heard sequel mentioned. I think there's a whole plethora of ideas that he's playing with. Like, why not? I think I'm gonna go on record, but forgive me if I'm wrong. But I want to say it's like the most successful film on Netflix so far.
Wow. So
it's that says a lot about the movie and the fact that it's very likely that we'll see more from that world come to light, I think.
Nice, yeah. Sweet. Yeah, no, I'm down, like, especially after the Snyder cut of Justice League. Like, I'm interested more in how that style of story is being told, because I watched Watchmen again, which
Oh, yeah.
again has, I'd argue to say, somewhat horrific elements in it. Like, I was watching Xanadu, I was going, hey, you could say this is horror. But especially, like, you know, the comedian, like, you know, and just his outlook and his character arc. I mean, at the beginning of the film, when he's sitting talking to his nemesis and he's just crying his eyes out, and his nemesis is there going, holy shit, are you going to kill me? Like, you know, it's a really interesting way of telling the dark side of superheroes, which I don't know if, like, you know, the DC audiences were expecting that with Snyder's, you know, filmmaking, but definitely what paid off in the 5-hour cut or the 4-hour cut, whatever it was, when I saw it. I remember my mum does not watch these sort of films, and she just said, oh, this is playing, and I heard the Superman scream at the beginning of the film, and I was like, are you watching the Snyder cut? Just like, oh yeah, and I said, it goes for 4 hours. And so we sat there for 4 hours and we watched the whole thing, and it was good. It was a good bonding moment too, just because you had great story arcs, for especially, like, you know, the cyborg character, which is telling stories like from Metamorphosis, which are Kafkaesque, like, you know, as in a lot of these old styles of philosophy, which are being retold now through different stories or mythology, if you will.
Are you wanting us to comment on that? Yeah. There's a lot of there is a lot of. It's interesting. So I was reading an article about. Is it the latest Suicide Squad film where there was a premise of actually casting Superman as the villain in it, and that changed.
Oh wow!
Recently too. So, which I think what's happening at the moment is that the energy around, particularly DC tends to lend itself more to the darker side of superheroes. I personally feel, whereas, I mean, I'm saying that, and I grew up very embedded in the Marvel camp as a kid. I read a lot of the Secret Wars comics and stuff when I was young. But there is this dark energy with the DC stuff, so I think it naturally lends itself to play with the idea of what ifs, which is why Brightburn came around. You know, like the movie that came out a couple of years ago, looking at like a dark version of Superman kind of story.
And you've got the knockoff of The Boys and things like that too. I feel like when you've got characters like, you know, Superman and Wonder Woman, these sort of like god characters on Earth, it's like, it's an interesting part of the story when you turn around and you say, okay, what if this, like, moral superior being ends up going immoral? Or, like, you know, thinking that, no, I am the only god amongst a whole bunch of ants, you know, or something like that. I think it's an interesting sort of philosophy that plays with it, too. That is... I mean, yeah. Sorry,
go on. No, I was just going to say, I always like... I can't remember which Superman, the original Superman, Christopher Reeve one it was, but where he goes up against his evil side of himself.
Oh, number 3, yes, the one with Richard Pryor. Yes.
Yeah, that's unfortunately that was probably one of the. Let's not talk about Quest for Peace. I'm a fan.
Well, again, I'm a fan, but
yeah. But it's of the original trilogy, Superman trilogy, the Richard Donner films, like spin off. Like I felt like obviously there were weak components to that, but that was the one element that still stands out in my mind now as an adult that is quite strong, and that says something. I think that's what people are, as I said, going back full circle, that's what people are tapping into now, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Or even if we're talking about horrific elements in Superman 3, when that woman became the robot, you know, she gets like sucked in by the computer things, that terrified me for years.
I loved it.
Yeah, you loved it. Of course you would. Yeah. Well, now being a grown up, I love watching it and going, it's terrifying. It's great. Awesome references.
I mean, there was lots about it. I think it was Overthinker 101 was talking about, or it could have been Lux, so I apologize whoever brought it up, was talking about the stuff that scared us as kids, the movies that scared us as kids. And I think that's what I'm starting to see a little bit more of, is this need to scare the younger generation again. You know, there was a time where that's the kind of stuff that we grew up with as kids, and I think we kind of erred on the side of kind of caution a little bit, but you're starting to see elements of that creep back in, and that's because the people that are making the movies now are people generally our age, who are affected by those films that they grew up watching as a kid. So they're trying to reinstill that a little bit and that energy back into the movies, which is cool. Like I'm all for. I think it's a really, really cool thing to kind of see come about, and I think that's what we're seeing. It's good. It's a good thing. Like I know I talk from the Surgeons of Horror stuff, but I do want to stress that I'm a cinephile at heart. You know, I've got so many movies in my collection that I can't even tell you. It's not just horror based. I remember I worked at Blockbuster Video when I was a kid, and I poured through every chance I could to, like, I was lucky that having the privilege of working there, you could just rent anything that you chose. You didn't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
So I just was like, right, I'm gonna churn through as many movies as I could. And during that period of time, I was watching a lot of flicks. And then I went to uni roughly around the same time back in the UK. And again, lucky enough that the university I went to had this amazing library with films. Like the back catalogue there was insane. And I would, in my spare time, I would go up to the library, pick another flick, sit down and go, right, this one's supposed to be good. Let me see what it's like. So, I mean, and because of that, I got to see, 400 Blows, a couple of the Truffaut kind of films, and stuff that I probably, like, we're talking about, I'm going to show my age a little bit, but a different age where it wasn't.
You've already said Blockbuster, it's too late.
Exactly, yeah. But it wasn't a case where you could just kind of get free access to these films like you can these days, or readily available access, I should say. So it's yeah, I had to rely on that kind of place, and it was awesome. And I was living in South London, and there was another like local video store near where I was working. Sorry, not where I lived, in Camden. And that had an amazing backlog of stuff as well. I was able to watch Saturday Night and Sunday Morning, which is an early Albert Finney flick, British kind of film, and set in like the 60s, about the revolution and the uprising of people against the regime, against the Industrial Revolution, and what that had, and the impact that had on British society. So. Yeah, so like I am from a horror event, absolutely, but it's the building blocks that are there are purely in the whole world of cinema. Yeah. So
well, that's it. Yeah, it branches out, and I think a good understanding of film before going into a genre is always a good thing. But yeah, and as I said, like, you know, it's like comedy. It's somewhat subjective too. Like, you know, some people will find certain things scary and other people won't. And some people will say, I'm not scared by that, and then that happens. But anyway, it's heading on to about 8 now. So would we like to go into a little bit of a quiz arena, if you'd like to play?
Let's do it, man. Let's bring it on.
Awesome. Well, let's play the intro again, just so we have a bit of a spiel to introduce us. There we are. Greetings, viewers. Since time immemorial, those devoted to uncovering the truth in our mysteriousness have committed themselves asking the questions that we merely set aside as obvious. But tonight, we ask the questions. Probe the prober. Divulge the unidentified. My friends, we cannot keep this a secret any longer. Can you and your mind withstand the truth unearthed by the surgeons of horror in their quiz arena? Well, to help guide you through the weary night, we have recruited 2 guests together. Please welcome Andy Trio and, as always, Sol Muerte.
Woo!
Woo!
Hello. Good to be back.
Greetings. Good to have you back in this another spooky event, which of course is Texas Chainsaw Massacre Day. So hopefully you guys have been carving some turkeys or getting amongst it in that way. Or maybe just staying in, as it were, staying within that 5K radius, as it were.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. How are you both? How are you, Andy?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for asking.
Awesome. Ready to answer some quiz questions?
Yeah, you betcha.
Yeah. I'm not a gambling man, but I'll bet you in this round. I don't know. And how about you, Saul? How you feeling?
I'm good. I feel a little bit under the pump, gotta admit. Like, I am the token resident that comes on these things. And at the moment, my record isn't looking too good. Like we're 2 in, and I lost the first one, drew the second one. So
yeah.
Gotta watch out, mate. I'm gunning to win this one.
And your drawing skills were great last time, but yes, you're gonna have to bring it up there because, of course, we've got Andy out here who knows quite a few things about, of course, this whole world that is the film industry as well. So I think that's something we have to be aware of. Don't know where you've all just gone. There we are. Oh, there we are. I pressed a minimized view. My bad. Sorry about that, guys. Oh, and now I've completely lost you. So let's bring you back there. Good old times to be had. Oh, it just completely deletes the source.
Can you hear us at least there, Richard?
Yes, I can hear you, yes.
Okay, cool. So, hey, Andy, just while we're kind of filling the void, do you want to tell the viewers where they can find you and what you do?
Yeah, sure. Well, my Instagram is at AndyTrue, ANDYTRIEU, and I'm a presenter. I produce stuff. A lot of internet-related content.
Yeah.
I've worked at SBS for 8 years, and before that I was on a Channel 9 program called Kitchen Whiz, playing a kitchen ninja, and I've had the opportunity to work on a bunch of movies from Hacksaw Ridge to Wolverine, and I worked on Shang-Chi recently, which is the Marvel film coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been an interesting ride and just trying to stay employed.
Yeah, that's the size of it at the moment, isn't it? Like the industry obviously is kind of ground a little bit to the halt for obvious reasons. So it's So what with that in mind, what are you looking at the moment? How are you fitting your lockdown time?
I'm actually working on COVID response. So
cool.
I'm looking after assisting producing the press conferences that goes on TV with Gladys and everyone.
Wow.
And after that, putting together a small report for TikTok that we've just jumped on. We get up to 300,000 views per TikTok.
Nice.
There's people watching, the update of what's going on COVID in regards to COVID. And we do a show on the New South Wales Health Facebook page called Dr. Jan Live, and we answer questions, and that's on a weekday at 3:00, and we're getting some pretty big numbers on that as well, only because it's really relevant at the moment.
Of course. Yeah.
But, when the cases go down, we're not as relevant, but it's still quite important. So,
hey, man, it's so important. And I'm so glad I asked that question about what you're doing now, because it's so relevant that we are doing this and that you are doing this. I think it's, so it's really, really cool. It's such an important thing for our society to kind of be in touch with what's happening at the moment. So that's awesome. I even saw I saw a reference to people saying, you know, it's quarter to Gladys now as a reference to like it's 15 minutes till the 11 o'clock bulletin to kind of hear what's going on. So I kind of like that. That's stuck in the household, so that's nice to hear.
Yeah, that's one you can say with the kids. You can't say beer o'clock around the kids anymore.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, there's games that go on the comments feed, like what she's wearing, how many cases. There's like a whole discussion just before they come on. They're like, red dress or like 400 cases or like
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Awesome. Cool. Well, since we have some games here and now I've got it a little bit organized about that, why don't we go into one of our first games, which again is from a fantastic TV show which shall not be named, which of course is no longer in existence. But like Speedy Gonzales being caught by the wily coyote, you too should feel cornered, trapped, even in a room, and this time it's not of your own emotion. But before you get free, you must put an order to the chaos in this game of Chrono Loco. Hey, so this is a game called Chrono Loco. You can see in front of you we have 6 different film movie posters, and I just want you to put them in the order in which the movies were released.
Ah, cool.
It's just a simple one like that. So,
I could probably do that quite quickly.
oh no! well, let's stretch it out so that maybe some of the
So
viewers at home
I might get our well. Wait, look, can I at least say which one I think the first one is to get the ball running? Only purely because I mentioned it already this morning. I don't know what time plane I'm on at the moment. I already mentioned it earlier on in our chat, and that is Psycho, which came out in 1960.
Nice.
So I'm going to definitely
stay
place
there,
that one at the front.
So
Yeah.
are you going to set it at the front? Okie dokie.
Yeah.
Beautiful stuff.
Yeah,
So-
we're going in chronological order, yeah? So the very first movie to come out?
Yeah, very first movie to come out. So we'll start with that one. We'll move that one down.
Yeah, I'll go with that one.
Good.
And let's talk about Psycho. Let's fill the gap a bit.
Beautiful.
What's like? I'm a huge fan of Alfred Hitchcock, and I've got like every single film of his. I've even got the Alfred Hitchcock Presents TV series as well. So I'm a bit of a of a nerd when it comes to that.
Cool.
And was it, hey Richard, was it you and I that had a chat around Psycho? Was it you that got on board to have a chat around the anniversary of that one, or was that did I get someone else on board?
I remember us talking about, I think it was Psycho 4, at least we were talking about a bunch of them, and I don't know if it was the same podcast.
I kind of feel like we had a little chat around. Yeah, we may have loosely chat around the franchise, but I think we had a big chat around Psycho itself, and it's a movie that's so iconic. I'm going to go out and say, look, it's not my favorite Alfred Hitchcock film, and that's not to say I don't love it, because I do. I absolutely love Psycho. My favorite Alfred Hitchcock film was actually Vertigo, which was a Jimmy Stewart film, and there's so many layers to that film, and it's shot in San Francisco. Come on. And the whole, but Bottego Bay itself and that whole region was an area that really drew Hitchcock. There's, The Birds is shot along that coastline as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
To name a few, and I want to say Shadow of a Doubt, which was the what's the guy's name? My mind's just gone blank now. But he worked very closely. Joseph Cotton worked very closely with Orson Welles.
Nice.
He was in that film too, which is an awesome film, and so that was all shot along that side here. I've got a book. I'm nerding out, man.
No, go for it.
That's called Footsteps in the Fog, which is a bit of a look at all the films that were shot along that kind of that coastline that Hitchcock did, and it's it's a fascinating read.
Awesome.
Recommend anyone watching that.
Yeah.
So is that filling out the void enough?
Yeah, no, I think that's good.
Just to talk about the first one.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, if we go through, we'll just name each of them. We'll give them a name so that everyone can, if they can't see them, go home. So we've obviously got Psycho as the first one. What's the next one that's up there?
I'm going to guess. We're working together on this one?
Yes.
Yeah, we work together, man. Yeah. I mean, I'll take the points, but we'll work together.
I was about to say, if we go back to the quiz score, I can bring up the scoreboard if you want. You can go for scores if you want to play that way. If you want to play rough and dirty. Otherwise,
Well, you want to talk about the other movies that are there, yeah? So we've got A Nightmare on Elm Street, which obviously is a famous movie. Do you want me to name the dates that they were released, or wait a little bit?
No. I think that give the people at the home a
All right,
chance.
so we've got A Nightmare on Elm Street, which obviously was Wes Craven's flick that came out and elevated Robert Englund into infamy as the title of the role. The role within that was Freddy Krueger, spawned a franchise. Interesting enough, the next one along is also a Wes Craven feature called Scream, and that also in turn had a big franchise released out of it. So that a number of films have come off the back of that one too, and even a TV series. And early next, benchmark that. This is going to give the game away a little bit, but it's celebrating a milestone. I will just say that it's celebrating a milestone of its release at the end of this year. Cool. And at the turn of the year, so in the new year, there'll be an extra installment of that being released. Scream 5 is coming out around, supposedly at the moment, January, early next year.
Fantastic. Awesome. Yeah, and also I should mention too that these films are the first of the franchise. Obviously, a lot of these have multiple films after them, but we're looking for the original release date, yes. So the next one, we've obviously got...
So the next one along is the reason that we are choosing to do our quiz today on this particular day is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, as it was called when it was released, not Chainsaw Massacre as it's got in the poster. And that is because today is August the 18th, which is supposedly when the events of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre happened. Ooh, back in the date that it was released, which I won't mention just at the moment. Yes. And then if we move slightly along a little bit more in our beautiful row of films, we have Critters, a movie that boasted the debut appearance of a certain Leonardo DiCaprio in its third installment, Critters 3.
That's right. Yes, it was one of the quiz questions before, and a personal favourite of mine. And then another personal favourite on the end there we have...
Children of the Corn, a Stephen King adaptation. I want to say that movie, that franchise is one of the most movies made in a franchise in the horror genre.
Really?
The only thing that's stopping me from saying it's the most is that I've got a feeling that Amityville Horror is the most. I think Amityville Horror has something crazy like 17 installments, which is insane.
Wow.
But Children of the Corn, and even like the latest Children of the Corn one, which I don't think it's been released yet, or if it has, I haven't seen it. But it was shot in Australia during the original lockdown that happened last year.
Wow.
Yeah, and we have a mutual acquaintance of ours who worked on the financial end of the making of that film.
Oh, beautiful.
So, which is the reason why I knew it was happening. I was like, what? That's happening? Yeah. So
and
there
of course, completionists like you, of course, you know all of the dates that all the films came out there. But we've got a lot of people.
I do, but I'm happy for someone else to play along a little bit. Has anyone else?
I was going to say, Andy, did any of those stick out? We've obviously got Psycho moving to the first one there, which we'll give for that. So
I'm just going to take a guess because talking 1974, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre might be number 2.
Yeah, so you think, so we'll move that one down to here, and we'll move Nightmare on Elm Street down to here just for now. Good, so I'll say that's there. Good, awesome. What about anybody else thinking? So we've got, obviously, Scream mentioned before. Now, do you think this would be before or after A Nightmare on Elm Street? This is like
which one? Scream comes later, yeah.
So we maybe put that down later, yeah. Move on whereabouts after Nightmare on Elm Street, before Critters.
I'll say the last one.
I'm going to put it at the end. I reckon it's the last one, yeah.
Nice, awesome. So we'll move that all the way down there and move all those down here.
Now, I'm realizing I'm realizing I'm hitting a snag while you're moving that along because I'm kind of giving the game away a little bit. If you put Critters as this second one to the end, because I think Critters was 80, if it wasn't 85, it was 86 off the top of my head. Now the reason I'm stuck a little bit is between the middle two, which is Nightmare on Elm Street and Children of the Corn, because they both came out in 1984, and I don't know which came first, which I'm just realizing now. When I was so optimistic when I first laid it down, like, I got this one in the bag.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say switch them. I want to say Nightmare on Elm Street is later on in the year, but that's purely a guess.
Okay, so
I don't know. That's the
after
so Critters next to Scream.
Okay, yep, so Critters next to Scream.
And
Like that.
I want to say yeah. Oh wait, why are you moving that one? Oh, no, the other way.
Oh, okay, so you want Children of the Corn this way, that way? Is that right?
Yeah, and I want to say that order because, yeah, I feel like it's that order. I'm if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But the middle two is the one I'm stuck on. I'm confident with the. No. I want to say Nightmare on Elm Street came out after Children of the Corn.
Okay, so you want to swap those two.
Yeah.
Nice.
But that's the two I'm not sure on.
That's right. What about...
I'm confident with the outside ones. I'm just not. Yeah, the middle two I don't know.
My reasoning is I feel like the Children of the Corn is on the other side because it just looks
go for it.
balanced.
Awesome. So beautiful. So
yeah, nice. I like it.
From that, yeah. So you were saying that Psycho. Let's actually go back to this way so that we can see it like this. Good, fantastic. So you think that's the chronological organization of where they're all going? Well, I can tell you that Psycho did come out, yes, on the 16th of the 6th, 1960. So that was first. So nicely done there. That was a point to Saul, I think, because you got that one, didn't you? Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah. You were right, coming second, which came out on the 9th of the 2nd, 1974. So that was a correct one for you. Let me just get the scoreboard up there and give you a point. Nice. Beautiful stuff. Then next we had... You said Children of the Corn, and let's see, Children of the Corn came out the 12th of the 7th, 1984, so that was yes, correct, yes. And then next you said Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare on Elm Street came out on the 1st of the 8th, 1985, so that was also correct, yes. Next up you said Critters, and Critters came out, Critters came out on the 6th of the 11th, 1986. So that was correct, because Scream, of course, came out after that. So, nice. I think it was 1996 or something like that. So, points-wise, I don't know if we should allocate it, because you sort of like took it all the points there. But Andy, actually, you said Scream at the end, so there's another point for you.
Yeah.
So
no. And Andy said Texas Chainsaw Massacre was the second one.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Definitely give that one to Andy.
Yeah. We've got Children of the Corn though. Like I don't know about.
No, I got that wrong. I got Children.
That was me.
So Saul got that.
That was the order I said.
Nice. So the two middle ones, and I think Saul got those two as well. I think.
Yeah.
So much
that was
like that. Okay.
Sorry.
Good stuff. Nicely done. So Saul is ahead on our leaderboard, which is good. It's the first time it's happened, ladies and gentlemen. This is good.
It is the first time.
Yes. Fantastic. See, miracles can happen, ladies and gentlemen. Good stuff.
It's all downhill from here. It's
our first round, and who knows what could happen, but jot in your answers there, or you could also try and throw them off by just throwing in some random things there. So, of course, that was our game of Chrono Loco. So, fantastic work. Thank you so much for that there. Yay! I need to make it so that it's an outro as well. Otherwise, I'll just be throwing straight back to the game when we come this way again and do this. Hey! Cool. Awesome stuff. Now, we are just going to have a brief little kip for just 1 second whilst I change something around, but we will be back with you very shortly. I need to get some sort of ads to be able to throw up here just so that we can say, hey, buy this, do this, buy this liquid, but don't inject it, you know?
Sponsors.
Exactly, yes.
So are you... I
was going to say, yeah.
So is the video going to be offline, or can I...
make a mention now, because I'm just going to see if that happens again. Yeah, you go for
cool.
it.
All right. So thanks for tuning in for the Surgeons of Horror and the Rushcutter Entertainment production of the Quiz Arena that we're putting out here for you. We are fortunate enough to have a couple of double passes again to give away for the Searchlight Pictures film that's coming out, which is called The Night House. And we will give that away to the lucky two winners of the final the final quiz that comes out round 3. Normally it's round 3. I don't know if Richard's got any more kind of coming up in the interim. But yeah, keep an eye out for that one at the end, because two of you people that are tuning in at the moment will be able to walk away with that awesome prize. So once again, thanks to Searchlight Pictures for that. And the movie again is The Night House.
Yes, which is what starts. What was it? Rebecca Hall, wasn't it?
Rebecca Hall, who, in my opinion, is one of the best British actresses going at the moment, and I will watch anything that she's in. She's very, very good.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and it looks like a fantastic sort of vibe and spooky sort of thing. I saw a different version of the trailer, and I'm now even more intrigued for it. Yeah, it divulges a little bit more on it, and it's really playing with. I don't know what it is, but it's like, you know, visual imagery and mirrors.
Yes.
It looks really cool. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah,
I'm really keen for it.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it too. I think it's going to be a really, really cool film, and it shows a lot of promise. And I think it comes out. Is it tomorrow? It's tomorrow. It comes out. I want to say. Is that right? That
I think so. Yeah.
Being released. So yeah. Obviously, I know a few of us in Australia are in lockdown at the moment. But there are people. I think it's Queensland's not in lockdown, is it? And Perth and all that jazz. So if you're in one of those other states in Australia, do get the chance to go out and check it out, because it does look pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just said, so I'm filling in the void as well. I didn't bring my mug. I should have brought my mug down. But in the past winners we have been able to give away, working with berserk.com.au as well, who were really kind enough to come on board for our very first pilot episode that we did. And I was able to get myself a mug. I'm British, so I'm going to drink lots of tea, other than the wine when I'm, in the wee small hours. But tea drinker. So I've got myself a mug of The Shining, which is an awesome stuff. So there has been some great stuff. So do go check them out too. They've been very kind enough to jump on board and help us in the past, and we're hoping to work again with them in the near future as well, which will be very, very exciting.
Absolutely. No, we always love it. It's fantastic. Thank you so much. We're all good to go on to our next one. I know I still have our next game up there, so I'll just turn that off if I can. Oh, there's so many buttons. Good stuff. How are we going?
So many buttons.
How are you,
good,
Andy?
man.
Still with us?
Very good.
Awesome. Beautiful.
Gummy bears keep you going.
Haribo.
Sorry?
Having a few gummy bears to keep the brain moving.
Oh, good, yes. Oh, yeah, need them. I think that in this, I've got my nerds ready to go, just in case.
Nerd. You nerd.
I know, right? In my a house, I've always wanted to have a piece of breakable glass that had like a refrigerated candy bar in it. Something like an emergency cherry ripe or something, just when you need it.
Yeah, that's it.
Exactly.
I like it. I like the colour you
Do
do.
you watch all your movies, or do you have a good setup, a very comfortable setup to consume all your movies at home?
Me?
Or Richard?
By both?
Oh, you can go for it all.
I kind of do and I don't. Like it's I've got to show my age. I'm a dad with a couple of young kids, so the entertainment facility that I have is not as awesome as I'd like it to be. But I say that, but I'm now currently set up in like a breakout space downstairs, which is where I've got a semi-decent sized TV with a surround system set up. So, and I was literally just during lockdown able to kind of hook everything back up again, and have been kind of set up a little like a man cave set up down here again. But it's a bit archaic. It's not like it's definitely not the front line of equipment that I've got down here. It's a good couple of good 10 years old. The system I've got down here, it's not great, but it does the job. I've got a good subwoofer that kicks ass, so I kind of like hooking that thing up when I can. And I've also I invested in a projector as well, which I sometimes fire up. It's only a little thing, but it's a good one to fire up. So I kind of enjoy doing that, and I take that away when we've been fortunate enough to go away on holidays and stuff, so I can hook that thing up as well, which is kind of nice. So we go camping a fair bit, so it's kind of nice to hook that one up as well. And the canvas of the tent is a great kind of projection sheet to kind of project on, so it's kind of nice. So yeah, there's a few things I've got going. I think I would absolutely love, if I had money, I would love to have a decent theatre space, with the proper chairs and relaxation kind of lounge chairs and stuff. And I do. I'm a big cinema. I'm a big cinema goer. I love the experience of going to see a film in the actual theater space, and I do miss that as much as the home comforts kind of is idealistic. When I get the opportunity to, I have the option to, I do like to go and see it on the big screen. That is something of my ilk. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something that everyone is looking forward to. Not even just like getting out and about, but being able to sit in a cinema and experience a film again. And something like, that thanks to Searchlight is giving us the opportunity to do that, so we can get back out there and amongst people. I've been hearing things in America. I mean, when they went back to cinemas and stuff like that, a lot of people were just going and seeing things on a whim, and they were just like, I just walked in, I just went to the cinema to see something because I could. So I think that's going to happen as well, which is going to be a good thing. Sweet. So let's move on to our next game, if you're keen for it. Beautiful stuff. Well, we all know that Mary Anning once stood on her father's shore and sold ammonites. So saith the mighty tongue twister. But rather than extrapolating historical events, we're more interested in finding out which day the what stood where. So on a similar vein to Chrono Loco, we have 6 characters that are here, and they came to prominence in our lives at some point. Different time periods extrapolated, very similar to the previous game of Chrono Loco, but this time they're translucent gifs.
Right.
So we've got 6 characters there. So who do you think these 6 characters are, first of all? We'll go from left to right.
That's Marvin the Martian.
Good, we got Marvin the Martian there. Yes, perfect. Awesome. And then who's next?
He looks like he's from
It's
Sesame Street.
He looks like you're from where?
Sesame Street.
He does, but that's Alf, and I can't remember the planet he was from, but he was, yes, definitely.
I can't remember, but yeah.
He might look like an extraterrestrial.
He likes cats.
Oh, does he?
He eats cats.
I just remember his voice, and I know that it's one that I can't do, so I'm not going to try and imitate here. Awesome. Do we know who the next person is at all?
I don't know.
He's from The Earth Stood Still.
The Day the Earth Stood Still, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Is it? I don't know his name though, but that's obviously
Klaatu.
Klaatu,
Yes.
thank you. Because
K9,
obviously the
fantastic
reference
work.
to Evil Dead.
Yeah, well, actually, I think that's where they got it. But Klaatu is actually
exactly.
something else in it, because Baratra, I'm not too sure what it is, but Nikto is another. I think it's I can't remember. When I was looking at the demons, there was a lot of names that had that sort of thing. But yes, awesome. Who's our next one in there?
Predator!
Yes, our Predator. Fantastic, beautiful stuff. Arms wide open, just like the song, and jaws too. And next to him we have.
Dr. Zoidberg,
Yes,
soak it
Dr.
in brine.
Zoidberg. Fantastic from Futurama. Beautiful stuff. And last but not least, don't let the disguise fool you. He wants to try out for Drag Race Down Under. And who is that?
E.T. I bless you. I still remember going to Disney World and riding on the E.T. ride as a kid.
Yes.
And it was fucking amazing.
So good.
Sorry,
Such a
language.
Yeah. It was brilliant. All of those games. And terrifying, even just about the scary things. I mean, what was it? The Snow White ride? That was when she turns.
Yeah.
Like, that was pretty scary as an adult. You weren't expecting that. But yes, awesome, fantastic. So all of these guys, they were not released in the same year or even the same decade, but they came out at different times. So starting, and we're going to put them in chronological order, which was the earliest one to the latest one, do you think?
So is the Day the Earth Stood Still the original guy, or is this the Keanu Reeves dude that we're looking at?
No, this is from the original film.
Okay, so I want to say that that's the first one.
Okay. It'll bounce
Would
around.
you agree with that, Andy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Let's put him there so I can move.
Because I'm guessing Marvin the Martian. Where is the earth-shattering kaboom? I want to say that he. Because that's Well, no, he'd be earlier than that slightly, wouldn't he? Because it's Bugs Bunny, yeah. So he was always up against Bugs.
And the Bugs Bunny, like those cartoons as well, they were big in the war times, but they obviously happened before that as well.
Yeah, I kind of feel like he comes next in the line.
Okay, so we'll move him down here, and we'll move Alf over here.
Yeah, because okay, and then now you're testing my brain a bit, because is our young extraterrestrial there? Was that 1982 that came out? I'm doing this without googling, so I'm just trying to.
You've just mentioned dates, and I haven't got the years they came out. I just know the order. So
yeah,
I'm sorry about that.
so I kind of feel like that he would go before Alf, because I feel like Alf was like 84 or 85 time frame.
Okay, so we'll move him down here. We'll move Alf down.
I remember the sister in that show was Joan Cusack.
Oh really?
In
Alf.
As in the sister of so she's obviously known for being the sister of Mr. John Cusack, but she was also in Bueller as well. So for Ferris Bueller's Day Off, she was in that, and a bunch of other films that are around that time frame.
Nice.
Oh no, Alf isn't at the end. I want to say Alf is next to E.T. dude.
Next to E.T. did so. Okay, so we'll move him down here.
Yeah. And then Predator was 1987.
Touching Zoidberg's eye.
Ooh, stop stroking his. What's that bit called? Of a.
Are they his tentacles? His tendrils?
Is it mandibles? Is it mandibles? Because that's something he shares with Mr. Predator guy, isn't it? They both have mandibles.
Yeah. They got some sort of like
Yeah. So I would switch Zoidberg and Predator around.
Okie day.
Because Zoidberg is from Futurama.
Yeah.
And I want to say that was like would have been mid 90s or something. I want to say 95.
Yeah.
So that is my attempt.
Nice. Awesome.
Order. So Andy, I put it to you. Do you think I'm right or wrong? Do you think any of those need to move around?
I think you're right. It makes a lot of sense. The only thing I was worried about was Marvin the Martian, but yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's the thing. That's the only one I'm not sure of too, if I'm honest.
So
because because I don't know when he came to life.
Yeah, but when do you think Klatow came to life, or at least was on the cinema screen?
Klatow was like the 60s, wasn't it? Like it was like 96. I want to say bang on 1960.
He was in that big science fiction, the Ed Wood style of science fiction horror, which was big at that time. Cool, awesome. Okay, so you're happy? You want to lock those in?
Yeah, lock it in.
Locking it in.
I think so. Now I'm nervous.
No, you're nervous. Yes, that's right. I'm nervous too because I've got to work out which the order it was. So, good. So I do have it here, and I've set it up previously. So you first said that Klatow was here. Unfortunately, you were wrong. He doesn't go
so
first.
is it Marvin?
Yes, Marvin the Martian was first, and then Klatow. Yes.
Right.
Then next you got E.T. was right.
That all.
So can I just ask when was Marvin first? When did he first appear on screens?
I feel like he was in the 30s, maybe the mid 30s.
Oh wow!
Now feel
That's
free to
awesome.
Google this for the exact
Okay.
date, but I feel like when I looked it up, because I again had to clarify and make sure on those flipped around, and I was surprised to find that Klatow was from the 50s. So as you've said, it was the 60s.
Oh, it was the 50s.
I think it was
okay.
54 or something like that. So,
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, but yeah, you wouldn't think of a cartoon that's so prominent, as you said, in the 90s and the 2000s even. Space Jam he was in. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
He
The
was
original.
apparently, I feel like I want to say he was one of the original characters. Like,
Oh wow.
not
Okay.
original as in core, but of the company and the first artist that made him, he was one of the characters that they made. He was an alien, and it was strange that it was one like that, based on that whole science fiction sort of realm on cinemas. But you got right with E.T., yes, the extraterrestrial, followed up by Alf, who was correct as well. Nicely done. Followed up by the Predator, who you were right as well. Nicely done. And followed up by Mr. Zoidberg as well. Congratulations.
Dr. Zoidberg.
You win the prize. Now we have to work out who gets the bloody... who gets what? I feel I don't know about you, because I don't know, Andy, if you're happy with this, I feel like taking points away from Saul for that, just for his pure audacity about that. I don't know
How
about
rude.
you, or what you viewers
How
feel
rude.
like at home.
Put it to the viewers, man.
Put it to the
Let's
viewers,
see
do you
what
feel
they
like we
say.
should take away 2 points just because I say so? Just
Do
because
it,
I
man.
say so?
Do it. Put me out of my misery.
Yeah.
Because I was very bold in that statement, wasn't I? Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, let's see what they say. I mean, like, I'm happy to go by the adjudicator on this one. So let me know what they
I
say.
just want to be mean, and I'm finding excuses hard to be mean about these things, or to just willy-nilly take points away or give them. Okay, I'll tell you what, Andy. No, damn, I can't do that. I was going to do it the other way around. Okay, I'll give you those points, Saul, if you can answer the next 2 questions right.
Oh my gosh! All right.
Yeah, actually, the first 2 questions in the quiz right. So if you tell me the answers now, what are the answers to the first question now? I'm not going to give you any of the answers. Just what's the answer? What do you think it is?
I haven't seen the question. Where am I looking at?
Oh no, you don't get the question. Like you can try and win it by just guessing the answer. You can try and get those points back on my rules.
Okay. First question is going to be Gunnar Hansen, and the answer to the second question is going to be in the library.
Oh, unfortunately, we're incorrect. We're very, very close. But we'll find out very soon what those answers are going to be. But before we do that, we're going to play one last round, which is going to be us seeing if we can also play with a little bit of audio. So hopefully you'll be able to hear my speakers okay, and the noise will come through. They're pretty much good. But yes, I'll fly from here. Beautiful. So let's see what we can hear through the scratchings on the side of the door or the shaking of the tent as we play a game called Hark. So, in this game, you are going to be. Originally, I wanted you guys like both sitting in a bed in a dark room, and we would just have sounds playing around you, and you had to guess what those sounds are. So we've got. I think it's 5 sound effects that we have from horror movies, and I want you to tell me what you think the creature is and what it's from. Okay?
Cool.
Cool, awesome. Let's start off with our first sound effect, so hopefully you should be able to hear it.
Is that it?
Did you hear it?
No, I heard something. Can you play it again?
No.
I'm going to go with. Purely because it was up today, I'm going to go with the day the Earth stood still.
Ooh, nice. So it's yes, it looks something like this from the day the Earth stood still. You think that was from the day the Earth stood still?
Like,
Yeah, I'm going with that one.
You think? Yes. You don't think it could have been from another franchise that could have been similar and just as old?
that looks like that where it's like made from an independent director, and there's almost a couple.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Are we supposed to be looking at the picture too?
Yeah. Oh, as in the picture's there to give you a hint. Yes.
Oh my god, I was purely going by audio.
I'm sorry.
I closed my eyes. I pictured myself in bed with Andy, which is not the first time tonight. And yeah, okay. So we're looking at the picture too. Sorry, can I just see that?
Yeah. Sorry, I'll just fit that there, and I'll take you back to the screen. So that's it there, and this is the sound effect that goes with it.
War of the Worlds.
Ooh, nice, awesome, fantastic. And
Nice,
what do you
good
think
work.
the name of the creature was?
I don't know, but slowly but surely they drew their plans against us.
You've worked with cameras before, Andy.
What the name of it?
Yeah, what do you think the
Tripod.
name of it is?
Alexa.
Oh, I'll tell you
Tripod.
what. I'll give you both a point for that. Andy, you got War of the Worlds, and Saul, you got Tripod. It was just Tripod.
Oh,
Yes, tripods that make. Nicely done. Beautiful. Okay, so good. So that's our one there. So our next one. So that was a point for each of you there. So there's 2 points that you could win on this. At least for now. This is how I guess I'm playing it. If you guess the name of what it's from and the name of the creature. Cool. Awesome.
Okay.
Or the best that I could find the name of the creature was, which again was Tripod. Write down in the comments if you find better, and we'll take those points away from them. Ha ha ha! Yes, exactly. Good. So next one. Here we go. So our next one. Sound effect, please.
Sort of creepy.
Do we have a picture to go with it?
What was you thinking, sorry?
Do we have a picture that goes with it?
Are you waiting for the picture? So no thoughts just from yet?
Oh, sorry. All right.
You can extrapolate. If you do know what it is, you can maybe say it might not be that. You could say it sounds like something from Deliverance.
But it sounds very squeal, piggy.
Yeah.
No, it sounds very similar to the last one, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
So, is it another tripod?
No. It's a bipod, if anything. Maybe that might help.
Aliens.
Ooh, nice. So you've named the film. Good. So do you know what the name of the creature is?
It's a xenomorph, yeah?
Yes.
Sigourney Weaver.
Yes. Awesome. So another point to each of you. Oh, you're working as a team. I don't know what to do. Oh, no. Nicely done. A xenomorph. Yes. Perfect. Awesome. So
And it's busting some moves there. It's pretty good.
yeah. It needs to have a dance floor there. Awesome. So our next one. Next one.
Predator.
Ah, nice. Jumping out of the gate there. Okay, so you've listed the film.
It's a predator.
Oh no, Paul. Oh, nicely done. 2 points there for Saul, getting it with the Predator. Jumping over here.
He looks so cool with the mask on. As soon as he takes it off, it's like, ah!
True, yes, exactly.
He
Awesome.
is one ugly motherfucker.
Yes, extremely so. But I kind of like the moments when you see its weakness in, like, I think it was number 2, or I can't remember which it was, but yeah, it was that beautiful moment like that. A lot of people give it shit for, like, Alien vs Predator. I'm a fan. Okay, next one.
I like the second one. Danny Glover. He's never too old for this. He's never too old for this shit. He's always good.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So again, our current points up there. We've got 6 for Saul and 4 for Andy. So you can pick these up, Andy. This one might be a hard one. I'm hoping it's going to be a hard one for you guys. So let's see if you guys know what this is.
Yeah, that was hard.
Can you do it again?
Is it a day to a quiet place?
Ooh, interesting. No, it's not a.
Oh, I like where you're going with that though. Can I hear it one more time before the picture?
It's playing over and over again in the background. So.
Oh, is it? I'm not hearing it. Why am I not hearing it? I'm gonna pump up my volume.
There's a certain sound it makes that's the most prominent. It sounds like someone saying something or calling for help. Now again, this may be a more cosmic horror that some of you hopefully might have seen out there. Here's an image that might help you.
10,000? Is it?
Ooh, good. No?
Is it 10,000 BC?
It's Princess Bride. Is it Princess Bride? And is it the Rats of Unusual Size?
Oh, that would be great. Why didn't I think of that? No, it is not.
Oh man!
It's not.
That's what it
That's
looks like.
so good.
I was trying to tap into what you were talking about earlier.
That's so good.
Ah man. Okay. All right. So it's not that.
No,
Love
sorry.
it.
But
it does look like
so
from the silhouette it kind of does look like a suit with a person on all fours, which is a bit unfortunate.
It definitely has an animalistic origin, or part of it does come from that sort of way. I mentioned cosmic horror because I would classify this as a horror, and I'm struggling in my mind of whether it would be a science fiction or a horror. And I think the elements purely from this scene alone would justify it to being a horror, because this stuck in my head a lot as a monster particularly. But this film also starred Natalie Portman, and it was a recent one. I want to say in the 2010s.
Oh, I know what it is. I know what it is.
Yeah.
Black Swan.
Black Swan? No! But again, that would have been cool, like the ballerina with the face.
Yeah, I don't know. Nellie Portman.
Yeah, so you think of any sort of cosmic horror-based films that she was in towards the end of the 2010s?
Annihilation.
Yes, nice, awesome, Cecil. You got the point.
But I don't know what the animal would be, because they're all like very out of worldly.
Yeah, so this sequence is when they're tied down to a chair, and they think they hear a friend who has since previously been killed. But then they run out, and she gets attacked by it, and then this thing walks in whilst they're tied to the chairs.
It's like a bear or some kind.
Yes, the bear monster. I'll give it to you. The bear monster.
Yeah.
Like that. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And for those of you all playing at home, this is the sequence.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. Far out. Oh, look at his face.
So
Oh, you give me a little squeege.
yeah, but that's just one that sort of stuck with me. So I wanted to throw that out there so that you guys could see how you go with that one. Awesome, fantastic. I'm glad that one was one that you sort of had to have a play for. Now, did I allocate points for that one? I think so. Yeah, so Saul, you're taking it out of the park.
Oh my God! What's going on?
Awesome enough. Okay, next one, we're going up with our last sound. So here's our last sound effect, guys, to see if you guys can get on this one. There's going to be a whole bunch of little sound effects that sort of play in the background. Any thoughts?
It's Annabelle.
Yeah, I can definitely remember that note being hit by Annabelle. So, are you thinking that this might be... Oh, there we go. Lux Voco might be helping out with the hint. I would say canine.
Critters.
Oh, nice. This might help as well. Yeah, exactly.
It's Critters.
Exactly.
Oh, no, hold on.
Nice.
Oh.
Now, I'm looking for the name that they're called.
They're not called Critters.
Well, Earthlings or Terrans call them critters. But the bounty hunters refer to them by what they are called.
Oh, no.
Does anyone out there know? It was very good thinking of Gremlins as well. I wanted to put that in, but I've got a soft spot for critters and these little munchy bastards. And I was lucky enough to find that picture. That down there, that tiny little image is of one of the puppets that was sold at an auction. And this is the ball image in the film that's rolling towards them. That's the whole ball made up of all of them. So, yeah, there's that. But can anyone think of them out there?
I've got to say I'm stuck. I can't even picture. I can't picture in my head.
No.
The Langoliers? Nice.
Ball.
No, they were the Krites. Yeah.
Ah, of course.
Yes, they were the Krites.
That's right.
Yeah.
God damn it! Put me out of my misery. Thank you.
That's all right.
Yeah.
But you still did get that point for getting the film there, so nicely done.
Yeah, look, I only got that thanks to Lux chiming in. So I don't know. I'm happy to not take those points if you want.
That's all right. I think we're in for it now. I think it's about time you got a win under your belt after what we've done to you in the previous episodes.
Maybe we'll see. We're still got a way to go.
Yes.
Was that the end of that round?
Yeah, that's the end of Hark. So yeah.
Sweet, that was good. I enjoyed that.
Awesome.
Really cool. That was a new game to the edition. I liked it, buddy. Very well done.
I'm glad. I like having these little different little games in there so that you can test your on the whim. So yay! I'm glad you did too. Perfect stuff. And here we go. And thank you so much out there. Feel free to, like, in these rounds, like, let us know if you know any of those little things. Like the Langoliers reference is brilliant, so that we can even just go off on those little tangents too, because it'll send us off on those. The shape-shifting bounty hunters, of course, they were hilarious. And does anyone know?
Oh, great.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of musicals as well, and he was popular in a musical genre before that as well. Like the guy, what was his name? It's not Terrence Mann, but maybe it is Terrence Mann. That was the guy who played the bounty hunter, and he recently came back, and I don't like what they did to his character. I felt like his character was so much more than what they did to it. Sort of just threw it away at the end there, but it was a lot of fun. Awesome. Yay! Great stuff. Yay. Well, now
can I before we roll into the last one, can I just throw in some interesting facts around the Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Absolutely.
So did you know that Gunnar Hansen was not the original Leatherface?
Oh, really? Not the actor doing it?
No, there was another guy that was initially cast to be Leatherface, but he quit and left. And Gunnar Hansen heard about it and was like, "Oh, I reckon I could do that. I'm game for that." So yeah, he then stepped in and filled in the shoes, and then the rest of film history came about.
Oh, fantastic!
It's a really, really cool fact.
I heard that there was what was it? At one point, the guy who was playing the chainsaw Leatherface, he outran the girl he had to chase, and so he just had to make things up by like cutting trees, and that's why it looks like he's going crazy.
Yeah,
great.
I'm just going to do some trimming.
Yes.
Like some of the hedges have been a bit overgrown. I've been meaning to pay attention to that.
Just got to do some landscaping here.
Interestingly, because of the mask that he was wearing as well, like it was very hard for him to see. I know this is one of Ant's kind of pet peeves about slasher films and the whole mask stuff, because your perception of the killer sometimes isn't great, and it proves the case in the making of the film as well, the original film, because he couldn't see anything, and the chainsaw he's wielding around is actually a real chainsaw. Whoa. And there was one point where he tripped, fell, and the chainsaw flew, and he had no idea where it landed, but it actually landed a few feet away from him. But there was a moment where he was like, I could be fucked here because I don't know where that's going to hit.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, so there's some scary stuff.
Yeah.
And I also want to touch on, I'm going to ask you the question first, just to see, this is just a bit of a fun kind of play along thing. But how many masks does Leatherface wear in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre film?
In the original film?
The original film. How many masks do you think he wears?
I thought it was one, but I never really thought about it.
Yeah.
What was that, Andy?
Maybe two. I mean, he might have tested a few, like Spider-Man, and didn't like them.
Yeah, that's right. He did wear the Spider-Man mask for a while, but it just didn't go down very well.
But with great power comes great chainsaws.
It is great chainsaws and great stuff for food. So it was 3. The answer is 3. So there's the main one that we see him wearing for most of the time as he's running around and kind of killing people, which was kind of, I think it was just dubbed the killing mask because it's the main one that we see him kind of, as I said, killing people with. But there's 2 others. There's one that's been called the Grandma mask, and this is the one he wears when he's preparing dinner. So every time you see him in the kitchen making food, he wears a slightly different mask. It's and it's called the Grandma mask, and it shows his domestic side. The last mask is one that's called the makeup covered mask, and that's the one where we see him wearing when he sits down for dinner, the actual one where he sits down and he's actually got makeup applied to his face. It's one that unfortunately is touched on a bit in Texas Massacre: The Next Generation, the fourth one, which is probably the worst version of the mask that I've seen of the franchise put out there. It looks really dodgy. But yeah, and that's where they get the genesis of the idea from. So it's very, very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for sharing. That's interesting.
That's all right.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Well, because I remember looking into it and just seeing a lot of facts. Like same when I was looking into the Friday the 13th about just that just like old ways of making film where like the girl who was getting chased ended up running through all of the bushes and cutting her legs up quite bad. So a lot of the blood that you see in the film was hers, like and stuff. So yeah, it's a begotten time.
I don't know if I sent a link to you in the background, Richard. I know you may not have had the chance to fire that up yet, but the last little fact I had around the franchise is that the original house that it was shot in has actually been kind of renovated into a diner now, so you can actually go along and eat at the place where the film was shot, which I love. I think that's an awesome thing.
I'm just bringing that up now, so there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, Grand Central Cafe.
Grand Central Cafe. Yeah.
Nicely done.
Oh, the Grand Central Cafe. I feel like that was a reference to, or what was it? Fried green tomatoes. What was the name? No, that was that was the Whistle Stop Cafe. My bad.
Whistle Stop Cafe. Yes, that's right. From fried green tomatoes.
That's it. Fried green tomatoes. Yeah. Oh. Sorry, I heard someone make a reference to that film recently, and I was just like, that's right, that's a film I haven't seen for years. Just one of those hits you at home. Oh, hits the heart, nice. Beautiful. Well, we can get into our quiz now if we are all happy and ready to go for it. So to play along, you guys, all you need to do is jot your answer down in the chat along there. Just the number that corresponds to the answer should work, and you will be in the winning to win one of the 2 double passes to the Night House care of Searchlight Pictures. So huge thank you for them. And yeah, so jump in that. The 2 winners will be winning those 2 prizes. So get commenting. Yeah. When you do win that prize as well, we'll announce it right after the quiz happens. And then we'll get you guys to send an email to surgeons.of.horror@gmail.com. We'll give you a keyword that you'll comment underneath the video just so that we can make sure that you're not one of the body snatchers. And then we'll send you the voucher straight out to you once the confirmation is done. So fantastic. We've already had some fantastic prizes given off to our previous winners, and so hopefully you guys could be the ones that win this one next time. And yeah, really get in there. Don't worry about getting it wrong. Just try and fire in any answers in there that you can. Get your family to play along as well, even if you have people, more than one person in the household. All you need is a Gmail account to be able to play along, and of course subscribe to Rushcutter Entertainment to be able to be in the running for it. So yeah, I'll fire that up just now in the background, and we'll have about 2 minutes to get into it. So let's just jump over to window. Beautiful. Hopefully it should all be working this time. Last couple of times we've been having a couple of things, and I think I have it fixed this time. It was literally just one of those communication errors where one thing was saying only let it go for 30 minutes and the other one had been going for 2 hours. So it was more my technical inability to do that. So, yeah. So awesome. So it's not just going to be questions based around the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. These are going to be about all films, and there's 10 questions on there. So the person with the most points will win. So yay, good stuff. Phantasmagorical. So yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to think of technical things that I'm going through my mind with different things as well. I don't think there's anything I've left out.
No, I'm going to show off my. I thought I'd go with a weird doll thing this week.
Nice.
I got like creepy dolls I just found downstairs, and I was like, I'm gonna have a creepy doll thing this week.
Perfect.
Yeah, I noticed that in the background.
Yeah. So who out there? I'm filling the time, obviously, because I've got a minute to go.
Yeah.
So who out there finds dolls freaky? We had Annabelle. You mentioned Annabelle earlier on.
Yeah.
And also, we've just heard that the latest Chucky TV series is just wrapped.
Oh, really?
Which
TV?
is just TV series, yeah, by the helmed by the original guy that was behind it all. So, and we've got Brad Dourif back in action, doing the voice, and as well as his daughter Fiona Dourif, and and now my mind's just gone blank. But Tiffany, what's her name that plays Tiffany? Oh my God,
That's all right.
Jennifer. Anyway,
yeah, no, because my mind was doing the same thing because you were talking about what was it, Child's Play, and the remake of that had Audrey Plaza in it, wasn't it?
Audrey Plaza.
Yeah.
I like Audrey Plaza.
Yeah, same.
She's suitably off key, which I like.
Yeah, we're into it now. I was going to say,
cool. Go
so
for
I'll
it.
put that on hold. But if we go over to
Yeah.
our quiz, we've got in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, how many people die by chainsaw? That's my type over there, but it means many. How many people die by chainsaw? 1, 3, 2, 5, 3, 1, 4, 7.
What?
7.
I know, right?
How many was that? How many people die? I'm going to say.
By
hold
chainsaw.
on. 1, 3, 5, or 7. I'm going to go with 3.
I'm going to go with 7.
Nice. You're going to go 3, you're going to go 7. Nicely done.
I
Okie
guess,
dokie.
I don't remember exactly, but if you're doing a chainsaw massacre movie, you've got to massacre people.
Yeah, I feel like that's the case too, but it feels like it's almost like that Friday the 13th where everyone goes, oh, Jason, like, yeah, the machete was in there, but Jason wasn't. So I was quite surprised by this. So I was like, yeah, that can be number one.
It could be, it could be 1. But
what are the deaths
I'm
you
going to
remember?
Was the girl that gets hooked up on the on the hook. There's a guy that gets clobbed at the very beginning. You get the guy that gets clobbed over the head. The guy in the wheelchair, I think, gets killed off with the chainsaw, from memory. And that's 3. That's 3 because there's only 4. There's only 5. There's 5 people, isn't it? Hold on.
1
2,
person.
3, 4. Is it 1 person?
1 person dies by
damn.
chainsaw. Yeah.
There you go.
So, that's what I meant. I was very surprised by that. Next one.
Yeah.
Linda Blair reprises her role in Repossessed. But who played the priest in Repossessed? Was it 1,
I know this.
James Woods, 2, Phil Donahue, 3, Paul Lind, or 4, Leslie Nielsen?
I do know this, but Andy, do you want to go?
Yeah, I'll say.
Yeah, James Woods.
You think it was James Woods?
I'm going to go with Leslie Nielsen.
Nice. No, like, who's Phil Donahue? Who do you guys know Phil Donahue?
Yeah, but how do I know that name?
Yeah, so he's sort of like the Sully, Jesse, the Jerry Springer, like,
He was popular
around the same time, but I only put that in there to throw you off. Ha 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 ha! And I love Paul Lind. James Woods was in Scary Movie 2, yes.
Yeah, 2, yeah.
Yeah.
As the priest character, yeah.
Exactly, as the
funny
priest
role.
character. But in Repossessed, it was played by, you were right, Saul, so you get the point. It was Leslie Nielsen. Another fantastic actor who was a straight actor who started off in Return to the Forbidden Planet, or...
I love that. And the musical of Forbidden Planet is awesome.
It's so good. That was one of my first musicals that I saw that I fell in love with it. So yeah.
Me too.
Oh no,
Based
Lux
on the
Vogo,
Tempest.
he took the advice and went with James Woods. Oh
no.
If you are lagging, Overthinker, maybe refresh. Just click the little refresh bar up in the top of your thing. You might be lagging behind, just in case. Our next question is, who is the real life, or who was the real life inspiration for the Hammer horror film Countess Dracula? Was it 1,
I do know this
Bloody
one too.
Mary, 2, Baba Yaga, 3, Yvonne De Carlo, or 4, Countess Elizabeth Bathory?
I do know this one, but shall I let Andy have a guess first?
Stretch him out a bit.
Yeah.
Just like she would have been. Well, actually, no, she didn't.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
So it's based on a real person, a real life countess?
Number 4.
Nice.
I'm gonna go with number 4 too.
Purely because, yeah. Oh, good stuff. I think I said it just before the viewers could stop doing it, so I meant to do that. Yeah, it's nice. So yes, Yvonne De Carlo, obviously famous film actress. Baba Yaga, a mythology which is very Blair Witch, Wendigo-based sort of mythology from Eastern Europe. Bloody Mary being Mary Queen of Scots, and Elizabeth Bathory was known as Queen Dracula, and was bricked up in her castle after... drawing
Blood
the
of virgins.
Yeah, the blood of virgins in a bath. She used to bathe in them. And Lux Voco, nicely done. You got that there. So very, very well done there.
Played by Ingrid Pitt in the Hammer horror film Countess
Yes.
Dracula.
And because Andy got in there just before, Andy gets the point for that one.
Go for it.
Yay! Awesome. What is the cat's name in Pet Cemetery? 1.
See, I know this
Chairman
too.
Meow. 2. Church. 3. Fumblebutt. 4. Wednesday. So what is the cat's name in Pet Cemetery? The name of the cat.
I do know this one.
I thought you would.
Can I
Andy,
go
have
in,
you
or?
seen Pet Cemetery? Either the remake or the original?
I've seen the remake.
Awesome. And the name of the cat.
I don't know. I think it's either 1 or 3 or 4.
All right. Can I say?
Yeah, you go.
Yeah,
It's
why not?
church.
It's church.
Oh,
Get me to the church on time. Lux Voco was right. He believed and got it correct. Chairman Meow is, I think, was a Family Guy cartoon, which I absolutely love that name for a cat. Fumblebutt. My sister used to have spiders in her room, and so I always used to come up with stupid names for them. One was Kushla, one was Zingtar Finishtabar, and this one was Fumblebutt. And Wednesday was just, again, one to maybe throw you off because it could be the name of that. The reason why they called Wednesday Wednesday was because Wednesday is full of woe was a quote that used to be around the time. And that was because Wednesday is named after Woden, which is Odin, which is the father of Thor. So every day you're saying Wednesday, you're worshipping Thor. You're worshipping.
I just want to quickly say thank you, Overthinker 101. It's Jennifer Tilly. Thank you.
Oh, perfect. Yes.
Sorry.
Oh, I love Jennifer Tilly. Yes, in Child's Play. Yes, you were saying before.
It was bugging me. I couldn't remember her name. Thank you.
What is the second rule to surviving in a horror movie mentioned in Scream? 1. You may not survive if you drink or do drugs. 2. You do not talk about Fight Club. 3. You may not survive if you have sex. 4. You may not survive if you say, "I'll be right back." So is it drink or do drugs, Fight Club, if you have sex, or I'll be right back?
Oh, dude, I damn it! It's either 1 or 3. I just can't remember. I can't remember the order because "I'll be right back" is the last rule.
Awesome. What do you think, Andy?
1.
You think 1? So you think you may not survive if you do drugs. The second rule.
All right, so I'm gonna go with the sex one just to shake it up a bit.
Okay, good. So you're going for 3. Awesome. We'll find out because I'm pretty sure, but because it's 3 rules and they all start with the same thing, I'm not too sure. So we'll find out in just a wee tick. We'll find out together.
Woohoo!
And I'll take Fight Club then if we're all going to allocate one.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Don't talk about it though.
You may not survive if you drink or do drugs. So that was Andy, wasn't it?
Andy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Andy got that.
Well done, sir. Well done.
Nicely done. So yeah, I think the first rule was you won't survive if you have sex. You won't survive if you drink. If you have drugs is the second one, and you won't survive if you say, "I'll be right back."
No.
And
It's a big no-no.
Yeah, big no-no. Next one. According to the handbook for the recently deceased, in the case of an emergency, 1. Jump in the line, rock your body on time. Okay, I believe you. Or 2. Draw a door. 3. Say his name 3 times. Or 4. Do something strange and unusual. Once again, according to the handbook of the recently deceased, in the case of emergency, do 1. Jump in the line, rock your body on time. 2. Draw a door. 3. Say his name 3 times. Or 4. Do something strange and unusual.
Ooh, this is a tricky one. This is a tricky one.
So what's the handbook for the recently deceased
draw,
from?
I kind of want to. I think it's draw a door too.
Yeah, nicely done.
Is it
Andy
that?
did just get in there. Nicely done, and we'll accept that. So good. And it's from what film?
Is it yeah, is it from that?
Rock your body at the time. Okay.
Is it Beetlejuice?
Yes. Fantastic. That's why 3 times. Say it 3 times. But of course, the answer to that was, in case of emergency, draw a door. Very, very good. Which
Nicely
he does
done,
quickly
sir.
with chalk. Yeah, a fantastic little film. Which there's talks about that getting a remake, and I really hope they don't. That and Gremlins, I'm just like, oh, don't need to touch it just yet. Awesome. Okay, our next one. Question number 7. Who was the first Dracula to say the famous line, "I never drink wine"? Was it 1, Christopher Lee, 2, Bela Lugosi, 3, John Carradine, or 4, Lon Chaney Jr.? That famous, iconic line. I never drink wine.
I'm going to go with Bella.
Nice.
I'm going to go with...
You saying that because you think that he was the first Dracula?
No, I think he says it.
Because I think that's the answer, Richard. Andy, what did you think?
Lee or John Carradine. Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know.
Are you going because of David Carradine? That film reference?
Yeah.
And the recent video with, what was it, Red Letter Media, and his that half, like, he's got like a plastic thing that he's using as a...
I hear Gary Oldman too. Like, I just think of Gary Oldman always. Yeah. This is the laughing matter.
Yes. Oh, so good. So good. Beautiful. Well, yes, I should have known better putting in anything about like Dracula or Hammer Horror. You were correct. Bela Lugosi.
Ah, cool.
I never drink. Why?
Lying.
I watched it again, and I love it how he has that pause, because obviously it's him saying I never drink outright.
Yeah.
But he said then saying, wine. I never drink wine.
Yeah.
Cool. And also it's covered in dust and stuff like that. So that would have been a really, really probably like...
I love that movie. I'm a big fan of the James Well early kind of, Universal Monsters stuff,
Yeah.
They're good. They're good.
Yeah.
And the old Colin Clive, Frankenstein stuff.
Awesome. I mentioned this before.
Question.
What musical was the bounty hunter in Critters most famous for? 1, Fiddler on the Roof. 2, Evil Dead the Musical. 3, Cats. Or 4, Repo the generic opera.
I'm going to go on a whim and say Cats.
Nice. Why do you say that?
Because we had Church appear earlier. I said Alf, the TV series, like to eat cats. I'm just going to go with the cat theme.
Cool. Awesome. I like it. Sweet. Also, what were you thinking?
I have no rationale.
No rationale.
Well, I was going to agree with Sol. I don't know. I saw Cats, and someone at work mentioned it recently. So
nice, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, it is.
I have a good feeling about Cats.
Yes, it is one of the longest running musicals, and it was very popular at the time. And you were correct. I'm pretty sure he played Mr. Mistopheles.
Yeah, there's a very famous incident where he coughed up a furball and it turned into one of the Krites. It was
Oh,
scary.
of course, that's where they got the idea. It was like, can we add little teeth in this little red gobo? Of course. So, well, yeah, you get that one. And Andy, so I'll give you both a point for that one. Nicely done.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Oh, into double digits. Dubs dig. Oh, I know. Fiddler on the Roof as well is a fantastic, beautiful old musical as well. A lot of older men in musicals love that film just because of its the folklore behind it too. It's really good.
If I was a rich man.
Yeah, little. Awesome. Next one. What are the demons in Hellraiser known as? 1,
I do know
Cenobites. 2, Trilobites. 3, Ammonites. 4, Tardigrades.
I'm going to go with 5 dildo bites.
Yes, the dildo makes another reference.
The dildo.
There was
is
something
back.
someone put in like a Devil's Blood group, and I wanted to post you on that one.
I know the answer, but Andy, did you want to have a quick go?
Yeah. Do you know what any of those things are?
Cenobites.
Which one?
Cenobites.
You want to say Cenobites? No.
That's correct, sir. That's correct.
Right,
Cenobites.
yes.
Yep.
Exactly. Do you guys know what any of the other things are up there?
What were they again? Sorry.
So we got Trilobites, Ammonites, and Tardigrades. So I mentioned Ammonites before when talking about Mary Anning, who came from the tongue twister She Sells Seashells by the Seashore, and she discovered 3 fossils that were unknown by finding the fecal matter, which are called coprolites. Ammonites are small sea creature fossils. So that's what an ammonite is. A tardigrade is also known as a water bear, and they have been known to have leaked out. The Russians accidentally spilled them on the moon when they went last time, and they went out into the vacuum of space. They thought they died, but when they brought them back to Earth and put the water into them, they came back to life. So they're currently they can't die.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah, it's those in there to throw off. Next question. What is the name of the planet Frankenfurter comes from in Rocky Horror Picture Show? 1, transsexual. 2, Transylvania. 3, Detroit. 4, Danton, we just like to mention. Now, have you guys seen Rocky Horror Picture Show? And if so, how long has it been?
Actually, probably too long. I love this movie. I actually played Riff Raff once
Really?
when I trod the boards way back when. And my favorite line was always, "You're all wet."
Yes.
Which I think is awesome. I think perhaps you'd better I'm inside.
Or awesome, Andy. What are you thinking? Have you got anything that's leaning towards any which way?
I'm just going to take a guess, and I thought it was that Denton one only because you sang it at the end.
Nice. Have you seen Shock Treatment, the sequel to Rocky Horror Picture Show? That is a song from Shock Treatment, and Barry Humphries is in that, and Rick Mayall is in that, and Ruby Wax is in that.
I'm from transsexual Transylvania.
Yes. So what was the name of the planet? It was Transsexual. Correct, Lux, and correct, Overthinker.
Well done.
Nicely done. The what was it? Transsexual and the galaxy was Transylvania. So nicely
That's exactly
done.
it.
So let's
Well
see
done.
up there, and we'll tally those results and find out who our two winners are of our fantastic prize to go and see. Hey, nicely done. We've got Lux, Voco, and Overthinker. Congratulations.
Yeah!
Lux, Voco getting 6 correct answers, and Overthinker getting 5 correct answers. Congratulations, guys. Woo! I just came back and you were right in the front of the face. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
Getting the pause in amongst it. Fantastic. So, yeah, just send us an email. Just send us an email to surgeons.of.horror@gmail.com, and that'll confirm us. We'll send you a word that you can post down underneath the link in the comments section of this video, just to confirm who you are, and then we'll get those prizes off to you. Fantastic work. Fantastically done. Yay! And it's good to see that Lux has got a prize there. Lux, of course, Lux Voco made the introduction video. Like I was saying, Andy, before, he did all the
Nice.
3D and everything in that, and he also wrote the music for it too.
He did.
So, yeah.
A man of many, many talents. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Brilliant work. Awesome stuff.
So we should probably say did you mention what the prize was, by the way? In case we didn't, I'll repeat it. So it's Searchlight Pictures have been kind enough to donate the prize for today, which was the 2 double passes to go and see The Night House, the latest kind of horror film from Searchlight Pictures that is coming out as of tomorrow in cinemas. So thanks a lot for them for donating that wonderful prize.
Yeah, it's so cool, and it's going to be great that you guys are going to be able to get that out in the cinemas, just so you can get some. You can take someone along as well. It's a double pass, so it's not just for the one person. And yeah, take someone maybe that you can cling to if you want in this time at a safe distance whilst under masks and stuff like that.
Cling to 1.5 meters apart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So congratulations. And that was for them, of course, because that was a little celebratory thing there, which I have to add a little outro to, because otherwise it cuts too clear there. But on that last round, of course, we came. It was 1 point. 1 point, ladies and gentlemen. Look at it.
Was it really?
Look at it. It's 10 for Saul and 10 for Andy. Sorry, no, 9 for Andy. I'm sorry about that.
Oh my god!
Look at that.
He clawed his way back,
He
but
did,
it was just not enough.
Yeah,
Not enough.
we didn't think he'd be able to do it, but Andy, that was really good. I thought you were gonna overtake him there for a second there, but just could crawl about there. Fantastic.
Wow.
We'll have to get you back again, Andy, if you'd love to come along.
Definitely.
And see if you can snatch that away from him.
It is mine.
Yeah.
You went easy on me, Sal. I know it.
No. You had the
Next
gummy
time
bears.
if I
We were
come
envious.
back, I'll be doing my research.
Yes, yeah. Well, that's it. Well, feel free as well if you have any trivia too that you know that we might not know. Like, you can test us as well, because we're much more about that as well too. But thank you so much for joining us on this night. Not only you, the viewers out there, writing down all your things. Sorry, my bird is just flying around everywhere, and so it's out of the corner of my mind making me do that. But you're typing down there and interacting with us is really, really helping. Make sure that you tell your friends, share it around. If you have won the prizes, if you can take a photo or share that moment on here with us, so that we can show everybody else how much it's working, and you guys out there in the cinemas too. That would be great. But please extend my appreciation and thanks to Andy Trieu. Thank you so much, Andy. It was such a huge a joy to have you on board.
Yeah, it was great having you on board, mate. Thanks.
Yeah, and hopefully we
Thanks
can.
for having me, Richard and Sal. Good times. I actually learned so much today, and I've got a list of that I want to go out and watch. So thank you.
Perfect.
Nice.
No, it was great to have you on board, and it's awesome to see you racking them off there and going, I'm gonna just take a leap with this sort of stuff and getting out there and kicking Soul's ass. That's what we like to see. Beautiful. But thank you so much. Is there anything you wanted to plug just before you go?
No, but this was really fun, and I really appreciate it.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much, man.
I'll work towards being a cinephile one day.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. We'll get you a scalpel and all, so you can come in for our dissection cuts. Awesome.
The golden scalpel.
Yes, exactly. And thank you, of course, Saul, as well, for every week coming on board and helping me through the dark and the scary to make sure that the viewers and I don't get scared and huddled in a corner.
That's right.
And
I'm here
course,
for you, man.
Yes, thank you. And of course, thank you so much to Searchlight Pictures for our giveaway with 2 double passes to see the Night House. Check out that trailer. It's down there in the description. We also have in the description a link to the Indiegogo campaign with Belle Delia. It's in the last 3 days, I think, of their campaign for their film, which is called Violet, and it's a thriller film, so it is tying into the genre, but it's also a Hollywood film. They're producing this in Los Angeles, and there is a chance for you to contribute to become an associate producer. So if you've ever wanted to produce a Hollywood film, you can get your name in those credits up there. So check them out. Links are in the description below. And yeah, I hope to see you guys next time. Thank you all so much, and we'll play the intro just one last time, and I hope to see you all again next time. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Thank you.